over the course of time. I haven't heard him come out and say that fitness is a problem. I think he'll realise that lack of creating chances and conceding silly goals is a problem. So what he does to address that will be interesting to see. But I'm excited.
Here we go then, another new year at Carrow Road. David Wagner stands on the side of the pitch with his hands very deep into the pockets of his big padded overcoat. And there's the first chance he's got to hear Carrow Road singing On the Ball City. And as that continues, the game gets underway. Norwich City defending the Barclay end in the first half. By no means full at Carrow Road, but it is a decent attendance. I dare say the arrival of a new head coach might have just persuaded one or two more to buy some match tickets over the past 48 hours. Tim Krul back in goal for Norwich today for the first time since early October. Kicks the ball away there. It breaks for Kenny McLean on the edge of the Norwich penalty area. He gives it to Max Aarons. I will give you the Blackburn lineup in a moment. But here's Aarons bursting up towards the halfway line. Sarah playing further back today than we've seen in recent games as one of a sort of holding midfield too. And now Norwich already looking to get Ida away on the right hand side, level with the Blackburn penalty area. Ida takes on his man, gets into the area. Pukki gets a touch at the near post, but not enough on it, and Blackburn clear it away inside the first minute. A Norwich attack.
Yeah, it looked good. I mean, just even the way they moved the ball across the back in sort of building out from their own half, and possession just seemed to be a lot quicker. Players have been used to sort of standing on the ball, waiting for something to happen. It's been really kind of slow. Seems to be a bit of tempo in the way we're passing and moving the ball.
Certainly the way they've lined up, what we told you at the start of the programme seems to be right. Ida is playing just off Pukki, so it's a 4-2-3-1. Ida in the number 10 role. Hernandez has started on the left wing, and Marcelino Nunez on the right of the three behind Pukki. Not quite as far wide as Hernandez is on the left, but it's a little bit tighter on that side. As Pukki goes down, challenged by Scott Wharton, and it's a free kick for Norwich City just inside the Blackburn half. The Blackburn team, and what a little chaos Blackburn caused last time they came here. Dean Smith will not be remembering that day fondly, because it was the day that the Carrow Road crowd turned well and truly against him. And Mbemedele's taking this free kick quickly. Ida's onside. He's got to the byline on the right. Now crosses into the penalty area. Blackburn thought he'd actually taken it out of play, but the officials were happy, and the ball's been turned behind for the first corner of the game.
Yeah, whether they're looking to kind of deliberately get Ida involved, or whether he's just sitting in that role and making really clever runs that are difficult to mark, he seems to be involved a lot in these early stages.
He actually went for a corner at the end, didn't it? Hernandez was able to chase after it and get to it and keep it in play. So it's 0-0. It's a bright and breezy start for Norwich City. Hanley, former Blackburn captain, of course, finds Nunez on halfway. Nunez spins the ball out towards the right-hand side, where Mbemedele is waiting for it. Plays it along the line to Aarons. And that wasn't a particularly kind ball to Nunez. He was given it there by Aarons. He had three Blackburn players around him. He's lost possession. And here comes Vale on the left-hand side for Blackburn. Centre forward in this game, the young Welshman. One goal for the first team so far in a cup competition against Premier League West Ham. The Blackburn team, pairs in goal. Carter, Hyam, Wharton and Pickering at the back. Travis and Garrett in midfield. Markande and Brereton Diaz. We expected to start in the wide positions, with Dak playing off Jack Vale, who I was just talking about, through the middle. Let's see how that unfolds. Certainly Blackburn have recent success at Carrow Road in the memory, so it'll be interesting to see whether there is what they've learnt from that recent win here. 0-0. Blackburn moving the ball forward towards Brereton Diaz on that left-hand side. He's lost possession, and it's broken for Sarah, who powers through, tries to find Pukki on the right corner of the penalty area, but Blackburn are wise to it. But they've intercepted, and they tried to turn Norwich around quickly here. It's played up towards Dylan Markande, who's yet to feature in the league for Blackburn, but is highly rated by the supporters. He's just been bundled over by Hanley, and it's a free kick. Yeah, Dylan Markande, signed from Tottenham. He's only 21. Scored 2 goals this season in the League Cup, but John Dahl Tomasson is yet to give him a go in the league, and I think this is being seen as a real opportunity for him to catch the eye. And he certainly gave Grant Hanley a bit to think about there.
He did, yeah, and Hanley sort of doing something that I saw in the warm-up, which I thought was a bit strange. Normally a training ground routine. They were working on interceptions, so you had the coach passing the ball into one of the subs, and you had somebody standing behind him and almost working on him, trying to kind of nick the ball and win it before it reached their feet. And on this occasion he just managed to foul the Blackburn player.
Dak's free kick curled in from the right-hand side, headed away well by Norwich City, but collected by Blackburn in the midfield. Back out towards the long head. Dak on the right-hand side drives it firmly towards the penalty area. It's headed down, but will go through to Tim Krul, who's 34 years old now. Krul, but it's still a big afternoon for him under a new manager, because he's been out of the team since the 8th of October when Norwich were beaten here by Preston. That's the last game that he played in, and he's had to watch Angus Gunn over the last 13 games play pretty well in goal, actually. And seems to have become the number one, but that could all change now, couldn't it?
I mean,
new head coach.
Yeah, and Krul has a great game here today. I mean, what happens then? So, it's all that kind of fact-finding for the manager in those early few weeks where he's just sort of looking at things and trying to feel things for himself.
Here's Pukki picking up a loose pass, carrying the ball deep into Blackburn territory, releasing Onel Hernandez, left corner of the penalty area. Yanulis has gone on the overlap. He crosses, it's blocked, and that will be a corner this time. Yeah,
again, really direct, and by that I mean, getting forward quickly, not long balls, with tempo, and, it's really difficult to defend against pace, quick players, but also moving the ball quickly, and Norwich have benefited from a corner.
Wagner already very vocal, very animated on the side of the pitch. 5 minutes in, his team have the first corner, which Sarro will take with the left foot. Curled in towards the far post. Hanley tries to get his head to it, couldn't quite. Nunez loops the ball back into the penalty area. It's been cleared away. There's a Blackburn player down in the box, and the referee's going to have to stop it because there's been a clash of heads in there. Scott Wharton it is who's gone down, and that means that what was a Norwich attack that hadn't quite ended just yet does now have the wind taken out of it. It all looks a bit threatening around Norwich at the moment, not just on the pitch but in the sky. We can see across the rooftops of Norwich city centre, and there's been some very heavy looking dark grey clouds that have been sort of circling for the last hour or so. We haven't had the big downpour yet, but it feels like it's not very far away. It's a slightly chilly afternoon, but I've had colder FA Cup third round days, and we've got Scott Wharton needing treatment. So 6 minutes in, Adrian Coote, I'm not going to ask you to leap to any judgments yet, but what have you noticed that's different about Norwich so far?
I just think there's more tempo to how we're building up. From what I can remember, that certainly one of the things that used to frustrate me a lot was the kind of time spent on the ball. I could understand that as a style of play, but it just didn't enable us as a team to build up any real momentum. Invited teams to come and close us down. Blackburn, I see, I've always found that teams that press Norwich quite high have done well against them. Blackburn have started in that way, and I think if you can move the ball quickly and play around that quickly, it just adjusts their game plan a little bit. And so they've had a little bit of success with some of their passing. Norwich and got Ida down the right a few times and just got Janulis down the left. And so for me, it feels positive already, but we're only 6-7 minutes in.
If you're just switching on, it's 0-0. We've got some treatment still ongoing to Scott Wharton here, the Blackburn defender, who suffered a clash of heads with Grant Hanley as that last corner was delivered, and they're not taking any chances here. They're taking their time with it as well they should. Scott Wharton's brother is on the bench, actually, Adam Wharton. It doesn't look like he's being told to warm up. One of the other players is in fact being recalled to the dugouts. It may be that John Dale Thompson is forced into an early change here. It's worth telling you that teams can name 9 substitutes for these FA Cup ties. They can only bring on 5 of them though, and the other thing to tell you is that if this is a draw, just to be absolutely clear, after 90 minutes we do have replays back for the 3rd and 4th round this year. Once we get to the 5th round, it's all settled on the day, but we'll hopefully cross that bridge when we come to it from a Norwich point of view. But if this is a draw today, it goes to a replay. In terms of the Norwich team news, well, Scott Wharton continues to get looked after by the Blackburn medical staff. No Josh Sargent in the Norwich squad today. He's being rested after the World Cup. Ben Gibson's got an injury, so he's not involved. The only player we thought might be involved today that isn't in the squad is Todd Cantwell, so we'll see whether there's any particular reason for that. That's the one that hasn't been explained yet. Wharton he's okay in terms of being able to be up on his feet and walk off the pitch unaided, but they will just want to be careful here, won't they, with the knock to the head that Scott Wharton has clearly taken. Yeah. They are getting a substitute ready.
You see when he went down and sort of he stayed down, but also kind of face down on the ground and not really moving. He sat up after a few moments and sort of slowly walking off now, but I wonder if
Ashley Phillips is going to come
on.
There's
a concussion concern here, and they need to be sensible with this. They are going to be making a change, and
Wharton's gone straight down the tunnel. I wonder whether this will be seen as a concussion change, and maybe not count towards the 5. We'll have to try and confirm that for you. But Scott Wharton's gone off straight down the tunnel, and 17-year-old Ashley Phillips is getting ready to come on. He may only be 17, but he's already had 5 league starts for Blackburn. Anyone who's started 5 league games at the age of 17 is doing pretty well.
Yep.
6'4", and he's going to be introduced straight away here. So Scott Wharton is replaced. An early change being forced here by Blackburn. Scott Wharton with a knock to the head after clashing with Grant Hanley. And Ashley Phillips comes on for his 10th appearance for Blackburn Rovers to slot in alongside Dominic Hyam in the centre of that Blackburn defence. Now, when play was stopped, Norwich were actually on the attack on the right-hand side. So the referee is going to... It's Gavin Ward, the referee today. He's going to start things by just throwing it back to Norwich. And on we go. That gave David Wagner a little opportunity to get a few of the Norwich players over for a few early words of encouragement. The ball's gone back to Tim Krul in the Norwich goal. Sweeps it out towards this left-hand side, but Manuel Hernandez was never going to get that. It drifted out of play, and it's a throw-in to Blackburn Rovers. So we are at 0-0 at the moment at Carrow Road. Adrian Coote watching alongside us. Norwich only one win in their last 9 home games, so yeah, no league points at stake today, but just getting that winning feeling back would help, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely. You know, talk about kind of getting everybody pushing in the same direction again. You know, a win for the players, what it would do for Wagner, what it would do for the fans. Hanley, firm back pass there to Krul, who stroked it out to Andrew Omobamidele. Back it goes to Tim Krul once more, and Krul clears his lines. Nunez helps it on. It's a nice touch from Marcelino Nunez, picked up by Pukki, who releases Onel Hernandez on the left-hand side. Now he's cutting in. He's got Yanulis outside him. Tries to play it through to Pukki. It might run for Yanulis. They've sort of got in each other's way there a little bit. Yanulis and Pukki, and Blackburn were able to clear. Yeah, and again, just quick football, moving the ball quickly and running into the Blackburn defence with pace at speed. It's really difficult to defend, and again, Norwich nearly crafted a chance for themselves. That ball looks as if it was almost going to run perfectly for both Yanulis and Pukki, but they couldn't both go for it, could they? That was the problem. Bit of encouragement there. 0-0. His Vale for Blackburn, their striker, releasing Brereton Diaz, the Chilean international, of course, on the left-hand side. Crossing, blocked by Omobamidele, and it goes for Blackburn's first corner. It's just that exciting sort of brand of football, if you like, kind of bearing down on the opposition's goal at pace, in numbers, and moving the ball quickly. It's it doesn't always come off, and you don't always score at the end of it, but it's exciting. It gets the crowd going. It lifts the place. There's always this argument about, did the fans, are they needed to be vocal to lift the players, or is it what happens on the pitch, what the players do that, allows the fans to kind of then... Corner taken by Blackburn, 0-0 after 11 minutes. Return to the corner taker Dak after a short corner. He plays it in towards the far post. Hyam gets his head to it, it's blocked. Then the shot comes in from Brereton Diaz, it's blocked again, and goes behind for a corner to Blackburn Rovers. So the first set piece that Norwich have had to defend under David Wagner. They just about got there, but there are a couple of efforts at goal from it. Have you got a set piece coach? Well, as far as we know, we've not been told for definite, but Alan Russell, of course, who was doing the job of interim manager in between the Smith and Wagner eras, as far as we know, he's still at the club. Yep. So he was saying he expected to stay on. That will all become clear, I'm sure, in the coming days. 0-0. Blackburn have a corner, which Bradley Dack will take, raises his right arm, delivers in front of the Barclay end from that right-hand side towards the near post, headed well away by Gabriel Sarra, and Norwich have brought everybody back, so he chases after it, and the ball goes back to goalkeeper Ainsley Pears for Blackburn. It's interesting that another manager who likes to bring everybody back to defend corners. Yep. It's been a while since Norwich have had a head coach who doesn't mind leaving a player up now and again. No, it's that sort of that aggressive defending we were talking about. Even in the clearance there, you see Sarra absolutely sprint for about 40 yards to close the Blackburn right back down. We've got another Blackburn injury. Vale has gone down, just caught by Adam Eder. Vale really unhappy with the challenge. He's gone down just inside his own half. They've already had to make one change through injury, with Scott Wharton heading off inside the first 9 minutes. Now Jack Vale, the striker's down. He's going to be okay. I don't think any medical treatment's going to be needed. He wasn't too enamoured with the challenge there from Eder. It's a Blackburn free kick, which I didn't think the referee gave straight away. No. It's almost like the reaction of the player has sort of encouraged him. Yeah. 13 minutes gone. Ball played back to Phillips, the substitute, who's just come on at the heart of that Blackburn defence. He gives it to Hyam, who was beaten here on FA Cup third round day 2 seasons ago, when Norwich were 2-0 winners over Coventry. Carter, the right back, gets the ball back to Phillips, and the youngster strokes it across again to Dominic Hyam, who left Coventry earlier this season to join Blackburn, and now finds the captain Travis, and it's comfortable at the moment for Blackburn to keep possession inside their own half of the pitch. And back they go to their goalkeeper Pears, whose dad Stephen Pears used to be the Middlesbrough goalkeeper in the first season of the Premier League. Careless pass from Blackburn. Now can Norwich pick it up and make something happen? It's Gabriel Sarra. He's gone for goal from distance. It takes a deflection, and it's easy for the goalkeeper Pears to take, and it remains 0-0. Yeah, they've obviously been working on how the front two kind of closed down the Blackburn defence. Every time Adam Eder closes, he positions his body in such a way as to force the Blackburn centre-back to play out wide. That instant, to the point where the centre-half almost tried to force a pass and give it straight to Pukki, and Norwich were nearly in. And it remains goalless on BBC Radio Norfolk. David Wagner, hands in his pockets, watching from opposite black baseball cap on. Brereton Diaz there has caught Omobamidele. He's down. It's a free kick to Norwich City on Bamadeli's fine. No real flow about the game, is there? Lots of free kicks, and we've had that long injury as well, which has just sort of disrupted any sort of rhythm in the game. We haven't come too close to a goal at either end yet. Just that couple of blocks from that last corner that Blackburn had, that Norwich City had to deal with, and Hanley goes back to Kenny McLean. Well, that bounced up and hit McLean on the hand in the penalty area. Referee and the assistant on this side have both ignored it and not given it, but that's one of those where I should think Kenny McLean's heart was in his mouth for a moment. Game continues, clearly realising or thinking there was nothing too sinister about it, but from it Norwich are breaking. And Sarah nearly got it in behind to Adam Eder there. Throw-in, it was blocked. Norwich have taken it quickly. Sarah gets it on towards Hernandez on the right-hand side. Out of his feet to Aarons, who's trying to come forward on the right wing. Aarons takes on the defender. Pickering tries to cross, it's blocked, and Norwich get a corner. That was... would you have been nervous if you were Kenny McLean?
Yeah, I was just thinking that, you know, VAR and how that comes back in. You know, you could see them being looked at, and because you've seen the ball hit the hand, that the automatic kind of decision is to give a penalty. But I think the rule is if it bounces up off part of the body and hits the hand, then it's okay.
It's okay, yeah. Well, no VAR here, thankfully.
No.
Corner to Norwich, right-hand side. Will be played by Sarah into the penalty area now. Comes off a Blackburn head, that of Phillips, and might go behind for a corner on the other side. The near side, the left, it does. And Norwich have their third corner.
Been really impressed with some of the runs that Adam Eder's been making in trying to kind of get in behind that Blackburn defence. And again, there he made a really clever run and just wasn't able to get it through to him. But I felt like had they, he would have been in one-on-one on goals. So look forward to see kind of more of those.
0-0. Sarah's corner from the left, played in towards the far post. Hanley's header! Oh, tipped over the bar by the goalkeeper. Pears, fairly comfortable for him. It was a looping header from Hanley, who scored in Dean Smith's first game in charge, the winning goal against Southampton in the Premier League, which seems a long time ago now. And he wasn't far away from scoring.
I think that was just dipping in under the crossbar. I think the keepers had to save it. Maybe it was going over, yeah. Sarah
curls it in again. It's been headed down. It's nearly fallen for Hanley. Blackburn have scrambled it away through Brereton Diaz. Aaron should pick up the pieces here for Norwich. Lovely pass from him, where Sarah's in space on the left. He's got a crossing opportunity now. Drills it in. It hits Phillips, and behind it goes. And Norwich are getting up a bit of a head of steam here. That's another corner they've won.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be more on Norwich than Blackburn. You know, Blackburn have had a few sort of attacks down in the Norwich half, but predominantly Norwich have had a lot of the ball in the Blackburn half. And you know, now would be a great time to capitalise on one and just relax the whole atmosphere around here. Just get that goal and settle everybody down.
Nunez corner, helped on by Eder, blocked by Brereton Diaz, backed away by Mark Ande. There's Aarons again picking up the pieces, looping header forward, head up by Garrett, the Blackburn midfielder who just dropped into defence there from the corner. Pukki chases it out towards the right-hand side, rolls it back into his own half, and now Norwich City regather possession. And they're getting a round of applause from their new head coach, David Wagner, clapping his hands together on the far side of the pitch. 0-0, here's Giannoulis. Nice little turn from him to go past Mark Ande, and he's got the confidence to run deep into Blackburn territory, then slice the pass across to Eder. 25 yards from goal, Eder. No room for the shot, has to just take it back a bit to find a bit of space. Finds Aarons, who gives it to Hernandez on the right-hand side. Level with the penalty area. Now an opportunity here for Aarons to come into the box for Norwich City. Tries to drive the ball across. It takes a big deflection, loops up in the air, and the goalkeeper comes to get it. I think that's one thing that Norwich have definitely lacked in the last couple of games, would be intensity. And towards the end of the Dean Smith era, you didn't see a team building up any sort of intensity. Are you seeing an improvement there?
Yeah, for sure. I think that I've seen Norwich already on the ball in the opposition half a lot more than they had done in previous games. There seems to be a real purpose to their passing in terms of getting the ball forward, and they're moving it quickly, and a couple of half chances and the header by Hanley. Norwich have lacked creating chances, and as well as I said, Eder had done with some of his runs in behind. In making those runs, you almost sit the Blackburn defence off a little bit, so he was then able to pick the ball up in space.
Loose back pass there from Carter that just had enough on it to get back to goalkeeper Pears, and Pukki was lurking, but the goalkeeper got there first, and it remains 0-0. And now back pass at the other end for Tim Krul to slice out of play for a throw-in to Blackburn Rovers. Bit of rustiness there for the man in all bright orange, Tim Krul, who started the season with World Cup ambitions, but has ended up not playing very much. Didn't go to the World Cup with the Netherlands, and has found himself losing his place as Norwich City's #1 as well. So he will certainly be hoping that
There was talk that they were going to take him over as like a penalty taker, goalkeeper.
That's what Louis van Gaal wanted to do in one of the training camps before the World Cup. As Brereton Diaz collects on the left-hand side for Blackburn, they're on the attack. Vale is up there with him, the Blackburn striker. Back to Brereton Diaz. Tackle comes in. And Norwich now with Hernandez, who seems to be spending more time over on the right-hand side. He's been tackled, and Norwich want to throw in. Yeah, in one of the squads before the World Cup, he wasn't named in the squad, but Louis van Gaal said, well, we don't want you in the squad, but will you come and help with penalties? And I think, let's just say Tim Krul politely declined.
Said no.
He felt he was worth a little bit more than that by this stage of his career. Down goes Ida, no foul. Blackburn able to carry on with the pass through the midfield to Vale. Brereton Diaz has made a good run. Owen Bamadeli sliding, cuts it out. Norwich have it back. We're in their bright yellow shirts, green shorts, yellow socks. Here's Aarons against the Blackburn team, all in dark blue. Aarons has gone back to his goalkeeper, Krul. A little bit more distance on the kick from him this time. Won by Phillips in the air for Blackburn. Then Sarah nods it towards the Blackburn half. Blackburn clear. Sarah gets another head to it. And Ida knocks it over the top and into the path on the right-hand side of Hernandez, who's going to keep it in play. That's superb from Ida. And then Hernandez. Hernandez on the front foot now. Right-hand side, getting into the penalty area and being tackled well by Pickering. McLean really determined to hold off Dak there and get to the ball first. McLean seems to have been given the job of not quite man marking, but certainly keeping a close eye on Bradley Dack, doesn't he?
Yeah, how he won the ball back there was exactly what they were working on in the warm-up, kind of that trying to nip in front of the Blackburn player and nick the ball early, which he managed to do there, and Norwich back in possession.
0-0, but here comes Owen Bamadeli forward. He's found Ida, who's playing his number 10 for Norwich today, in a pocket of space. On the right-hand side is Pukki, chasing the ball out almost to the corner flag. Keeps it in, gets tackled, and Norwich have another corner. Now, for all of Teemu Pukki's goal-scoring exploits, he's looking to do something today that he's not done. He's not scored an FA Cup goal in his Norwich career so far. Often I think that is because he's been the player who's been rested when it's been in the FA Cup. But 7 FA Cup appearances, no goals for Teemu Pukki. So with all the goals he's got for Norwich, to have not scored in this competition, that's one box he's not yet ticked.
So I mean, Teemu Pukki have got something in common.
Corner comes in, and me cleared away. Aarons tussling on the edge of the penalty area, the Blackburn penalty area, losing possession and just dragging back Vale to make sure that there wasn't any chance of a quick Blackburn break. And it's going to be a free kick to
It's Blackburn. One of those you can get a yellow card for, them sort of tactical fouls. I wonder if he is. Yeah,
he is. And I mean, you can see why he's got it.
Yeah,
it's Aarons, yellow card for tugging back and preventing the quick break, but it was a long way back, wasn't it? It was on the Blackburn penalty area, so yellow card. The yellow card, the FA Cup has its own sort of system for yellow cards, so players who get booked in this game, it doesn't count towards their league tallies. But I think if you were to get a straight red in this game, you would then miss the next league
games.
Yeah. Norwich go to Preston next Saturday for David Wagner's first league game in charge. We're nearly halfway through the first half. Not too much in terms of clear goal-scoring chances yet. Norwich City 0, Blackburn Rovers 0 at Carrow Road. Vale for Blackburn. Playing the ball back to the substitute Phillips, the centre-half, who had to come on inside the first 10 minutes. Carter now plays it forward. Hanley goes in for the challenge, so does McLean. McLean doing well to tussle for the ball on the ground and end up releasing Hernandez. Hernandez on the left-hand side. Carter comes to meet him and makes a really good tackle. Good play from the Blackburn right back. He now plays it into the midfield. Here's Markande. McLean hungry for the ball again. Actually fouled Markande there, but the referee plays advantage because Markande managed to keep himself up on 2 feet. And then when he tried to release Brereton Diaz, Giannoulis read the danger and cut it out. 0-0. Plenty of industry about the Norwich midfield. Kenny McLean really is looking for the ball at every opportunity.
Even out of possession, there's sort of an aggressiveness to the way they're sort of closing down and trying to win the ball back and tackle. And again, a style of play that kind of gets the fans involved. They love to see that, players working hard, committing to challenges, trying to win the ball back.
Yeah, sometimes just a full-bodied tackle can lift the noise levels as much as a chance at a good goal, can't it? And it's something that David Wagner might try to get going. We'll see. Still in the very early stages of his Norwich head coaching spell. Blackburn winning a high ball, playing it into the midfield where Giannoulis was just too quick for Markande. Got a touch on it. Now Ida has got 3 players up against him, and he got past the first 2, but not the third one. Had an awful lot to do there, didn't he, Adam?
Yeah, and it nearly come off for him as well.
Well, he's had better fortunes in this competition than Pukki. Remember that hat-trick 3 years ago against Preston on FA Cup third round day. Felt like that was the day Adam Ida really announced himself, and arguably hasn't kicked on quite to the extent that we thought he would. But a championship goal scorer for Norwich City over the Christmas and New Year period as the ball goes back to Tim Krul.
And I feel like probably one of the players that's set to benefit the most from a change of manager as well. You know, Adam Ida, come in and just prove what he's got to offer. And You know, I think we're seeing a bit of that in he looked sharp today. He's making good runs. He's been involved quite a bit and hasn't done a lot wrong. So kind of exciting to see how this can kind of progress for him now, because having a fully fit, confident Adam Eder in your club would be like having a new player.
Yeah, well, he's been out for so long. I mean, he missed most of 2022, didn't he, with various injuries. As Phillips plays the ball forward for Blackburn, Markanday helps it on, but Hanley, the Norwich captain, 200 appearances for Blackburn. He's stationed in the right position in city number 5 and strokes it across to Bamidele, and it remains 0-0. And it goes back to Tim Krul in the Norwich goal, passed out to Sarah, who's dropped deep in order to get on the ball now for Norwich City. Nulis, the fullback, pushing high up on this left-hand side. Hernandez, though, when the ball's played to him, he loses it, and that's where Nulis might be caught up the field, because Markanday is coming forward with it now, brings it towards the penalty area. Blackburn played across just behind Vale, the striker, and Nulis has got back and does clear his lines. That is the risk of pushing the fullbacks forward, though. If you then lose the ball carelessly in midfield, you are open to a counter-attack, as Eder does well to win a free kick on halfway. That was a little bit of a nervous moment for Norwich City. Yeah, just see there with Eder kind of following up from that little bit. I don't want him to get too carried away. You know, there's the danger that you almost try and overprove yourself, and simpler option would have been just to pass the ball there. And he's lost it, Eder, on halfway, finding himself surrounded by Blackburn players. Bamidele makes a challenge on Vale, but Vale's got the pass away to Brereton Diaz on the left wing here for Blackburn, attacking the Barclay end, crossing into the penalty area. McLean heads it up in the air. Hanley clears it, and only into the Norwich right back position, where Brereton Diaz finds Pickering, and the left back, who's well forward, plays it towards the edge of the penalty area, and there could be a shooting opportunity here for Travis. Gets the shot in, bounces wide off Bamidele, and behind it goes for a Blackburn corner. Lewis Travis scored here at Carrow Road for Blackburn back in 2019. That was the night that Norwich clinched promotion for the first time under Daniel Farker. They raced into a 2-0 lead. Travis then scored, and that just made everyone a little bit nervous, but Norwich held on to win 2-1 and clinched that first memorable promotion. A spirit that they're still looking to recapture.
Yeah. It seems so long ago now, doesn't it? Oh.
They've spent the last 4 years trying to recapture that, haven't they? I mean, having a lockdown in the middle of it hasn't helped, but that's what they're trying to do. Corner to Blackburn then, 0-0. BBC Radio Norfolk. We're in the 27th minute. Dylan Markanday has gone over to the left-hand side to take this with his left foot. Everyone back for Norwich to defend this corner, which is driven in towards the near post, flicked on and flicked behind, and it's a goal kick. No harm done from that set piece. Now here's something I've just spotted that I'm going to put 2 and 2 together. Blackburn's substitute who came on, Ash Phillips, have you noticed there's no sponsor on the front of his shirt? Do you think that's because he's only 17 and Blackburn have a gambling
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I don't remember ever seeing that before.
I think it's happened before in terms of kind of when they used to advertise alcohol products and stuff like that. You know, youth teams, when I played in the youth teams we would play against, when the first team was sponsored by one of these companies, it wouldn't be on the shirts of the youth team players, it would be a different sponsor.
But you don't see it at first team level very often, do you?
No.
He's got a blank sponsor's name on the front of his shirt, Ash Phillips. Now he's going to be tested here by Hernandez, up towards the corner of the penalty area for Norwich City. He's in the box, Hernandez plays it across, Pukki steers it over the bar. Did well just to get there ahead of Dominic Hyam, and the way that he's just kicked the air in frustration. Pukki, I think, feels he could have done better with that, but he was running at full pace away from goal, and he just had to try and help the ball on its way, didn't he? Yeah, you know, there's been questions asked of Hernandez and his sort of final ball in. But Neil Adams like that, the kind of didn't need to beat the man, just needed to get himself a yard of space and whip it in, which he did well, and Pukki, turned it towards goal, but just... Foul by Nulis on Markanday, and it's a free kick. Pukki, no goals in his last 9 at Carrow Road either. I mean, we know what a good striker he is. We know that he can get goals. He's got 8 already this season, but one of the things that Dean Smith was struggling to do was find a way of getting him regular chances and regular goals at Carrow Road in front of the home supporters. Lots of games in the FA Cup today. Cardiff are 1-0 up against Leeds. That's going to be a fair old atmosphere, isn't it, on the FA Cup third round day? Oof. They've had some...
2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon.
They've had some real tussles over the past, haven't they? Here at Carrow Road, there's a little bit more of a Sunday afternoon atmosphere about it, even with the new head coach. 0-0 between Norwich City and Blackburn Rovers. Ball's back to Tim Krul, who passes the ball out very well there to Nulis, just on the halfway line on this left-hand side. The Greek international, another player who really hasn't got going this season, and then he plays the ball inside and gives it away. And here's Markanday for Blackburn. Up to Travis, who went close a moment ago. Excellent interception from Eder, just chased back there to close down the Blackburn midfield, but Blackburn now do have it with young Phillips. Up to Brereton Diaz, and back it comes to Carter, the right back, who will give it to Hyam. And Blackburn just enjoying a spell of possession at the moment. Atmosphere's all gone a little bit flat. It does feel as if it just needs something to get the crowd involved again, as Blackburn hit the ball long and direct towards Brereton Diaz in the channel on the left-hand side. Omar Bemidele's gone to meet him. Has help from Pickering, the full-back. Omar Bemidele makes the challenge. Blackburn throw-in, well forward on the left-hand side.
Yeah, it just seems to be missing something this sort of last 5 or 6 minutes. You know, Norwich started off, I felt well. You know, I just hopeful that they could maybe build on that and keep putting pressure on the Blackburn goal, but it just seems to be in that sort of middle of the road phase at the moment, where we have the ball, they have the ball, without either team creating too much.
There's Travis, the Blackburn captain, tries to find Markanday, levered out of the way by Hanley, and no free kick given. Norwich City have possession. Here's McLean. You can hear a few fans just trying to get the noise levels going. Does feel like it needs a chance or shot at goal or something for Norwich now to really get the old place going with gusto. Hanley with a poor back pass there. Krul smothers the first chance, but then it's played across and Blackburn have scored. Well, that's what it didn't need. David Wagner on his first game in charge. Half an hour in, he's watched his team give away a really, really bad goal. Grant Hanley with an awful back pass that Blackburn nearly got in on. Krul smothered it, but then it was played across. And, well, there was a simple opportunity just to hammer the ball home. And it is Norwich City 0, Blackburn 1, and that is not the start that David Wagner wanted.
No, just
Easy
looking at the replay
just
again.
To tap it in.
Yeah. Bradley Dack, though, I mean, the obvious option for him, with it sort of all happening too quickly, would be to kind of try his luck at a shot with the goalkeeper in the way. But he's sort of, with great composure, squared the ball to the penalty spot for the simplest of tap-ins. And yeah, we can't seem to go a Norwich game without talking about some kind of defensive error. And so, you know, if the new manager wasn't sure about some of the things that we were looking at as a Norwich fan, he's got an idea now.
Well, that yes, I was going to say to you just before that goal, actually, that it's only in a game, no matter how well training has gone over the last couple of days, it's only in a game that David Wagner will really learn about his team, and that was such a poor goal to give away. Grant Hanley's back pass, Markanday got to it, and Krul actually did well to smother that shot, but having smothered it, the ball ran free, and Dack stroked it across, and it was an easy task for Jack Vale to fire in what is only his second goal of the season, both of them in cup competitions, but a nightmare for Grant Hanley, the City skipper. And almost with perfect poetic timing, just as Norwich go a goal down, the heavens open. It's actually chucking it down at Carrow Road, but Sarah has released Hernandez into the Blackburn penalty area. He goes, good tackle, comes in on him though from Hyam. Hernandez getting into a good area, but being dispossessed at the vital moment. Yeah,
and just like Dack put the ball across there, you're looking for Hernandez to do the same, because Ida was in acres of space, and it's just a little ball across the back of the defender just in front of the keeper, and I think Ida's running onto a tap in there. But the manager will want a response now. I think, you know, when you give away a goal like that, you know, it's all about what you do for the next 5 or 10 minutes, and, you know, he'll get to learn a little bit now about what sort of character this team has got.
Such a bad goal, wasn't it? I mean,
yeah, it's one of those that's so bad, you almost feel bad pointing the finger at Hanley, because you know that he knows. It was horrific.
There's no, I mean, I haven't seen it again, but if you go back to it, I don't think when Grant Hanley initially has the ball, there doesn't seem to be any pressure.
No, he doesn't look. He gets closed down. I think he feels like nobody is near Krul, so that, you know, it's almost a blind pass to him, and knowing that he's free, but he wasn't. And
Markanday was in there, didn't get to the chance because Krul was able to deal with that, but once the ball ran free, Blackburn sensed there was going to be a chance, and Vale has swept it in, and that is Norwich a goal down under David Wagner. And now the German is beginning to find out what he's let himself in for, but let's see what sort of response we can get as the ball this time is played back to the Blackburn goalkeeper, and he deals with it. Neat header there from Hanley. McLean releases Aarons on the right-hand side. Forward he comes. And he picks out Hernandez on the left-hand side. Hernandez tackled. He's got Giannoulis with him. Oh, nice ball back from Giannoulis towards Hernandez, who's got into the penalty area. Plays it across this time. Ida sets up Pukki. A crowd of players for him to shoot through, and he can't. It's blocked. Plenty back for Blackburn. Aarons crosses from the right corner of the box. Headed out by Carter. Sarah with the header returns it to Hernandez on the left corner of the box. Now Giannoulis. Goes past a couple of players, slides it to Kenny McLean on the edge of the penalty area. Closed down by the Blackburn goal scorer Vale, so he has to take the ball over to the right-hand side. Everyone's back here for Blackburn behind the ball. Trying to protect this one-goal lead that they've got on FA Cup third round day at Carrow Road. It's absolutely rodding it down now.
Yeah, it's just raining.
The rain has arrived with Norwich a goal down. We mentioned how threatening the sky looked a little while ago. Well, it's got even darker, and now we've got driving rain on the pitch. And Norwich... I don't think Blackburn have touched the ball, but Norwich have moved it all the way back to their goalkeeper, Tim Krul. And the rain is really sweeping into Carrow Road now. The temperature feels like it's dropped by about 5 or 6 degrees.
Yeah, and the wind is up here now
seconds.
as well. And
well, you can probably hear the rain lashing into the ground. David Wagner standing there on the side of the pitch. Good job he's got that big coat on. This team 1-0 down to Blackburn after a really, really poor mistake. Look at that, you can see with the floodlights on, and you look up, you can see the rain sweeping in, swirling in all directions, can't you? It's absolutely filthy out there as Norwich try to build an attack. On the right-hand side with Aarons, goes to ground, fouled by Brereton Diaz, and that's a free kick. I'm sure you can hear the wind and the rain just lashing into the ground now. Carrow Road is taking a right buffering at the moment, isn't it?
yeah, it is. God, it's gotten cold as well.
It has got cold. I mean, you can't even see we always talk about the lovely skyline we get of Norwich City Centre from our fortunate position on the gantry. You can't even see it now. The rain's so heavy, it's all just sort of disappearing into the mist. But we've got a game going on down below us, an FA Cup tie. 10 minutes to go to half-time. Norwich are 1-0 down. The rain's getting heavier and heavier. And it's a free kick. Right-hand side. There's a few supporters heading for shelter as the ball is played in from the right, headed on by McLean, half cleared as far as Marcelino Nunez, who has a shot from distance, and the ball goes over the top and behind, and a corner has been given. It got a deflection.
Yeah, it's what you want. You want him to hit one of those sort of low rasping shots off the deck, because it's going to really skid off the ground now and just present a bit of a problem for the keeper, and then, you know, have your Pookies and your Eaders following in.
I was just watching some of the fans in the Barclay end who were sat in the front few rows are heading back into the stands, and so are those down below us in the front few rows of the south stand. Corner from the left for Norwich, punched away only as far as Adamida, who shot his charge down by a packed penalty area. Norwich can't get the shot back in. Good rearguard effort from Blackburn. They've cleared it away.
Yeah, a couple of times now. I mean, you know, defending well, Blackburn, you know, numbers behind the ball, closing down and just putting their bodies in the way. They've got the goal lead now, and they're doing everything they can to hold on to it.
Well, this is sort of proper FA Cup upset weather, isn't it? I mean, these two sides are both in the Championship, so you're not going to get an upset today, but I think the weather has at least got the fans going. There's a little bit of sort of collective spirit in that here we are out in the rain watching our team losing a game, so it's lifted the noise levels. You can hear the rain. Listen to that. Absolutely lashing down at Carrow Road now. 1-0 to Blackburn. We've got 7 minutes or so to go to half-time. Blackburn moving the ball up towards the halfway line. Hanley is there to collect and finds Janulis on the left-hand side. Janulis crossing early. Pookie takes a touch in the penalty. It goes down. No penalty, says the referee. Did Hyam catch him? There weren't too many appeals from the players on the pitch, which is always the first thing I look at.
Yeah, I genuinely feel like, I know it shouldn't, but I feel like the way a player goes down influences a referee's decision as well. There might have been contact there, but, you know, Pookie's almost sort of launched himself to the ground, and, you know, I'd love the ref to point to the spot, but not for me, that one.
No, I can see why it wasn't given, and the player's immediate reaction tends to give a good impression, doesn't it? Or a good idea of whether the decision was right or not. Still, Blackburn lead. Ida hits a poor pass towards the left-hand side, which Hernandez does really well to keep in, but in doing so has only given it to Blackburn. The rain's finally eased off. That was some downpour we had. Sarah finds Nunez, and the ball goes wide towards the right-hand side now, and Aarons coming forward.
Twice he's been
caught there. Surely he was fouled. Well, referee says no. Aarons is still down. The referee's going to stop play for Aarons to get treatment, but I suppose the referee's argument will be he just ran into the Blackburn player, Garrett. But
yeah, it'd be interesting to see this again. I see, you know, it doesn't have to be deliberate
Pickering,
to be a foul, but
he checked him there, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did. Like, he was looking at the man and his arms were up, so that's an indicator that he was aware that he was there.
Well, I'm just looking at the front row of the south stand down below us, which I think very much of that front row doesn't quite come under the cover of the roof, particularly when the rain swells in as it just did, and everyone's got their hoods up or their hats on, and those with the hoods up, they're all, you can see how sort of wet they are. They're all shiny from the huge downpour that's just landed on them. It has eased off a little bit. It is still raining, but that was
it's definitely gotten colder though.
Well, yes, it has. It absolutely has. And David Wagner, I think he's put his hood up over on the far side as well, on top of the baseball cap, and I'm not surprised because...
Yeah, I think he put his hood up when Hanley...
Yeah, it does rather suit the mood, doesn't it? The weather has a bit of a sense of humour today. The moment that Norwich City went a goal down, we saw the rain come absolutely lashing down at Carrow Road. It was such a bad goal Norwich gave away. But it's almost good that this happens, isn't it, in front of David Wagner, just so that he knows what he's dealing with.
Yeah, and things that, you know, can be talked about, worked on. Like we said before the game, you know, everything's not going to be fixed in 90 minutes. You know, there's a real plan here ahead for what ultimately they've said is still promotion ambition. So one of the things surely that needs to be looked at if that's to happen is leaking silly goals.
Here's Dylan Markandale on the right-hand side for Blackburn. On the counter-attack, taking on Giannoulis. He's level with the Norwich penalty area. Gets the ball onto his left foot, crosses. Good block, though, from Giannoulis. And it rebounds for Pukki, who takes it on his chest nicely, tries to force the issue and release Ida, but didn't quite get enough on it. And Blackburn have worked the ball nicely through the midfield to Markandale on the right-hand side. The ball noticeably holding up a little bit more on the surface now, where all that rain has fallen. Hernandez hooks it clear, only as far as Garrett in the midfield for Blackburn, who lead 1-0 and are putting more pressure on the Barclay end. It's played on towards Dylan Markandale. Right-hand side. Oh, he's gone past Hernandez, plays it across into the 6-yard box. McLean is there to cut it out and is then fouled and wins a free kick in his own penalty area. Still 1-0 to Blackburn. But you can see that, I mean, you get a downpour like that, certainly it is going to have an effect. And that last pass to Dylan Markandale seemed to be right into his stride, and then he just had to check because the ball held up.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot boggy down there. I mean, the pitch still looks lovely. But yeah, it will hold on to some of that water. And, you know, it'll have a zip. If you can, you know, drive a ball at pace, it, you know, sometimes can zip off the surface as well, which is, you know, why I'd be keen to see Norwich try a few just pot shots and efforts from outside the edge of the area just to see if something can kind of rebound back out.
Hanley goes back to goalkeeper Krul, and Krul gets a good kick on it this time towards the halfway line. Nunez collects possession in the centre circle. There's space for him to run into Nunez, and he tries to release Pukki. That would have been a great pass, but Hayden Carter's not missed much at the back there for Blackburn, and he cut that one out perfectly. And that's then a foul by Nunez and a free kick to Blackburn Rovers. It's interesting, isn't it, that when Blackburn were last here, we saw a series of back passes from Ben Gibson in particular to Angus Gunn, and that's what turned the crowd, and they were booing. Well, today it's another back pass against Blackburn, this time from Hanley, not to Krul, as it turned out, that caused the problems. Put Norwich a goal down.
Yeah, and he'll know, you know, I'd be interested to see if he makes another blind back pass at all again this game, which if he doesn't is, you know, a valuable lesson learned, but obviously a costly one as well, because it now means Norwich need to score 2 goals to win this game.
And to stay in the FA Cup, because they are a goal down, 3 minutes to go until half-time. One thing I would say is that I don't think Norwich City have created any more chances than they had been in recent games. Not clear-cut chances anyway.
No. And just thinking about this kind of idea again now that Blackburn, the FA Cup has replays, you know, if Norwich are able to get themselves back in the game and finish with the draw, I know there'd be kind of, in the past, that idea that an extra game would be kind of getting in the way of stuff, but actually I think if they were able to get back in this game and draw it, an extra game for us to look at things would be quite useful.
Yeah, I agree. Here's Hernandez on the left-hand side. Does really well to turn past Carter. He's not got past him much in this game, but he has now, and he sets up Sarah's shot. What a save from Pears, diving low to his left-hand side. He got there and kept it out. Great little pass and run that, though, from Onel Hernandez. And now Giannoulis, well, he's penalised for fouling Markandale. He went down and seemed to handle the ball as he went down, but the referees decided it was a foul, first of all, and so a free kick to Blackburn. Yeah. That's what you want from Onel Hernandez, isn't it? When he's in the team, we know all about him. He's been at Norwich for the best part of 5 years now. Yeah. Gets his head down, takes players on, and just pick out a man in the middle.
Pass out. Yeah, and he did that well there. And I guess what was even more impressive about the save is the kind of momentum of the goalkeeper was taking himself one way, and then when the shot came in, he kind of had to sort of check and dive down the other way and got a strong hand to it. And I can't help but feel if Hernandez would have carried his run on, he sort of made the pass and stopped, that would have been a simple tap-in for him.
Well, he hasn't scored at Carrow Road since October 2019, Onel Hernandez. Such a popular player. I'm sure fans here would love for him to be the first player to score for Norwich under David Wagner. They need someone to, because they're a goal down in the FA Cup. Dylan Markandale, strong play on the right-hand side, then goes down after the challenge from McLean. No fouls given, and McLean's clearly not happy with how Dylan Markandale went down. A minute to go until half-time, then David Wagner has the challenge of his first half-time team talk as Norwich City head coach. They're 1-0 down Back pass this time from Omobamidele to Krul, and Krul passes it out to Kenny McLean. McLean plays it infield to Sarah. Have Norwich got one last attack in them before they do head back into David Wagner's dressing room for the first time. Omobamidele brings it forward with confidence, deep inside the Blackburn half by the time he releases Aarons on the right-hand side. Pukki's found some room, right edge of the penalty area. His cross, Ida nearly flicked that in at the near post. Just couldn't quite get enough on it, Adam Ida. Hernandez retrieves it on the left wing. Finds Giannoulis, he crosses, blocked by Dak, and behind it goes. And Norwich will have a corner, and there may well be a fair bit of stoppage time at the end of this half, because we had that early injury to Scott Wharton. One or two other injuries as well. David Wagner looks a bit of a forlorn figure on that far side. Yeah, he's got his hood pulled up over the top of his baseball cap. And we're about to see the amount of stoppage time we're going to get. 4 minutes.
Oh, I thought they said 9 then. I'm thinking, where's 9 come from?
4 minutes. Sarah's corner, left-hand side, played into the penalty area, headed away. Giannoulis might fancy a shot, though. Charged down by Vale, the Blackburn goal scorer. Here's McLean on the left-hand side for Norwich City. He will cross into what is still a packed penalty area from the corner. But again, Blackburn have cleared. And now Markanday with a heavy touch, going back towards the corner flag. Sarah's chased him, and Markanday with a lovely back heel gets himself out of a bit of a sticky situation there, and Pickering, the defender, brings it away. That's great play from Blackburn up towards the halfway line. And now Aarons knows he can't go back to goalkeeper because Brereton Diaz was lurking. But Aarons has got the composure to keep it and roll it along the halfway line to Omobamidele. On now to Adam Ida on the right-hand side. Hat-trick goal scorer in the FA Cup 3 years ago. Need a bit of that magic now. You're not far away from scoring a moment ago.
No,
lovely
flick. I feel like it was probably just a little bit behind him, and he was kind of sort of stretching to hook it towards goal. And
now Hernandez trying to get in behind Hyam, but he can't. It's gone through to Ainsley Pears, the goalkeeper for Blackburn, who's made one really good save, you'd say, in this half.
Yeah.
No, really been called into action too much more than that. There was a fairly comfortable one from a Hanley header, and not too much else. And that's something that David Wagner, I would say, yes, you can talk about giving away silly goals, but I think probably his biggest challenge, because you look at the Norwich team and there's Pukki, there's Ida, there's Sargent when he plays. There's players who know where the goal is in this squad, but it's how you make this set of players more creative, because that's something that you never felt under Dean Smith they ever got, really a hold of a game where you thought they were creating chance after chance.
No.
It's how you get the best out of that midfield, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And when you couple that with what we've seen this season is that, the likelihood will gift a goal to the opposition, you then leave yourself in a position needing 2 goals to get maximum points out of a game, and when you're not creating, that becomes an even taller task. And
Sarah now, what can he create here? He drops the ball nicely in behind the Blackburn defence on the left-hand side. Giannoulis, can't keep it in. I don't know whether
rain.
Well,
it sort of skidded off, didn't it? And then just
it looked like that was the perfect weight to Giannoulis, and it looked like the Greek was going to get there, but it just sort of bounced away from him, didn't it? We'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say it skipped off the surface. Rain's still falling, and we're not. I mean, the pitch here is so good and it drains so well. We're not in anything like waterlogged pitch territory yet.
No, you have a look up and down where the line's been run. You can kind of get a sense of
what a normal football pitch would look like.
Yeah.
If it wasn't as well looked after as this.
What Hemsby Social Club looks like this afternoon with their veterans playing.
If there are any Sunday League games going on in Norfolk right now, they're going to become right old slogs, aren't they?
Yep.
As this one is in its own way for Norwich City in the FA Cup on BBC Radio Norfolk. They're 1-0 down to Blackburn at Carrow Road. Still we play on in first half stoppage time. Travis in the midfield. The Blackburn captain plays the ball back to Dom Hyam, centre half. But at the moment, Blackburn are on course for their second win at Carrow Road in quick succession. There's a back heel there from Nunez, doesn't quite find the run of Ida. Sarah goes looking for possession high up the pitch, gets a foot to it, but the way it's going in this game, it rebounds to Blackburn rather than to Norwich. And back it goes to goalkeeper Pears for Blackburn. Can't be too long left of the stoppage time. It's about 30 seconds or so. And David Wagner, well, if he wanted a little illustration of the sort of task he's taken on, I think what we can say is that he's been given that in this first 45 minutes as Hanley goes looking for the ball, but Blackburn have played it in here to Brereton Diaz, who's in behind the Norwich defence in the penalty area. Brereton Diaz with a chance, he's put it over the top. That was a great opportunity. He took on Omobamidele, who is now furious here with the assistant referee that the flag didn't go up. Norwich convinced Brereton Diaz was offside. Well, whether or not he was offside, he should have taken that chance. That could quite easily have been 2-0 to Blackburn.
Yep. I was then going to say, sort of in the build-up to that, is what sort of impression do you think Wagner would have had of that half, and sort of thing he'd be saying at half-time Do you think he'd be pleased with that? I think there were elements of the half that were very positive in the way that we attacked. Just can't get away from that kind of conceding soft goals. You know, I know it almost sounds boring now, keep talking about it, but you know, we're in good quality possession. You know, there's no danger at all, and just one, you know, bad decision essentially has changed the way this game looks now.
Yeah, half time. The first 45 minutes under David Wagner, I would say it's given him a good impression of what he's walked into at the moment, in terms of a group of undoubtedly talented players out there, in many cases who've been there and done it, but who just look a little bit disjointed at the moment. They're not creating lots of chances. I mean, they've had a couple in that first half, let's be fair. One great save that Pears made low, diving down to his right, and then we saw Hanley have a header that was tipped over the bar. But there's never been a real spell of the game where you felt Norwich have been in complete control, and when you're not creating that many chances, it does put pressure on the defence. And one mistake, Grant Hanley with a poor back pass that ended up rebounding kindly for Jack Vale to strike into the empty net. Blackburn lead 1-0, and what I would say, Cutie, is that David Wagner there has been given a really good illustration of what Norwich have been like this season. Yeah. This
is what, you know, this is what we're looking at, and you know, like we said, it isn't going to be fixed in one game, one half. They're not going to come out second half and all of a sudden everything's going to be changed and, you know, it's all fixed. They're working towards something. So now, you know, the goal's gone in, we're 1-0 down. It needs to be about not doing those silly things anymore, and you know, you can get that out of the performance. And then that's kind of lesson learned, and then you can put your focus on how do we create more chances, how do we get the more impactful players on the ball in dangerous areas. And you know, Hernandez has had some joy late on in that half, Ida had some joy early on in the half, and we've created little bits and stuff like that, but like you say, nothing really kind of concrete apart from the shot that Pears has made a good save from. So we'll see what it looks like second half. Will he make any changes? Will he keep it how it is? I guess we'll see soon.
It hasn't quite been the brave new world that Norwich City supporters hoped they were stepping into. More of the same, really, in terms of the way it's gone on the pitch. But they've got a different voice in the dressing room now trying to address it. It is half-time, and as it stands, Norwich are heading out to the FA Cup because they are losing at Carrow Road 1-0 to Blackburn Rovers.
Yeah, thanks very much to Chris Gorham and, of course, Adrian Coote for that first half commentary. Bad news if you're a Norwich City fan. The team are 1-0 down here at Blackburn in the FA Cup. We were thinking about our plans to listen to the fourth round draw later on in the afternoon. That's due at 4 o'clock. We'll put those plans on ice because we might not need to, the way things are going. But still 45 minutes to go. Norwich can get this turned round. And I agree with everything that Coote and Chris just said. You know, a little bit of endeavour from Norwich City, a lot more certainly than under the last few games under Dean Smith. Some positive play, a bit more aggressive as well, getting forward, getting Anel Hernandez down this left-hand side involved where he was for most of the game. Yanulis as well, doubling up well. I think Yanulis had a pretty good game. But the individual errors, this is where we need to focus. What can the head coach do about that? He sends the players out over the white line. We said this a million times on BBC Radio Norfolk before, but he sends those players out over the white line. He certainly doesn't say to them, make sure you undercook your back passes. So that's something they've done under their own steam. And Grant Hanley, for me, has been one of Norwich's most reliable players. You know, I was looking at the programme before the game and reading and looking down the kind of team sheets over the season, and Hanley's been there. He's only missed about 2 games, I think, all season. You know, he's been the leader, he's been the captain, he's been a real bright spark for Norwich City. For me, pretty reliable, but today, you know, I'm not going to say he's let his side down because that's a bit strong, but he certainly let them down at that point with that undercooked pass that Blackburn snaffled up and managed to take the lead. What do you think? Get in touch with us now. #Canary Call. This one from Ewan. He says Hanley and Krul out. Ball players into those roles, aka Gibson and Krul. We can't. I guess he means Gunn rather than Krul replacing Krul, but I see what you mean, Ewan. We can actually play some football from the back. Ball needs to be moved into fullbacks far quicker. Aaron's in acres and rarely gets the ball to run on. Woodsy says he shouldn't be playing Grant Hanley. If this is what it takes to realise Hanley's the issue, then fine. But if he continues to play him and captain him, his tenure will be worse than any of us realise. Jamie says 2 or 3 fresh faces and we are capable of being any team in the division. Hopefully Wagner is allowed to bring them in. And this one from Mark. It's been better. Players seen smiling again, but the terrible mistakes again, though, are still there. So, yeah, I think there's certainly been smiles on the faces amongst fans because, you know, that's what Norwich needed, a bit of a if you forgive the pun on today's weather, the grey cloud kind of being lifted from here. But certainly a bit more positivity and certainly a little bit more attacking intent from Norwich City. But we shall see what happens in that second half. Blackburn lead here by 1-0. Second half commentary coming up. Elsewhere in the FA Cup, a couple of games already been completed today in the third round. Bristol City 1, Swansea 1. Russell Martin's side, of course, and they will do it all again, as we say at this time of year when there's a replay in Wales in the next few days. Derby County have beaten Barnsley by 3-0, so Paul Warne's team getting through in that one. Elsewhere, it's half-time in Wales. Cardiff are playing Leeds, and Cardiff are in the charge in that one.
Biro does not work at all. Chance for Cardiff. Mark Harris is in. Oh, great save by Robles. Harris again pulls it back. Davis misses it. Must be stuck away by Jayden Philogene, the 20-year-old, to get Cardiff in front. It's their first shot on goal in the game. Leeds are caught out at the back, and Cardiff lead Leeds in the third round of the FA Cup. Is it going to be 2002 all over again? Cardiff 1, Leeds 0. Rinamoto, floated ball forward, chested down, and finished by Shea Ojo to make it 2-0 to Cardiff. That is a goal of real quality from the championship team. Rinamoto again with the pinpoint pass, but Ojo absolutely superbly brought it down on his chest, finished it on the half volley, and what a story we've got on our hands here. Cardiff lead Leeds by 2-0.
Yeah, a potential shock on the cards there. It's got a good ring to it, hasn't it? Cardiff City against Leeds United, two big clubs. And Cardiff will be absolutely buzzing with that. 2-0 up at half-time in that one. Back to kick off the second half. Hartlepool United 0, Alex Neil Stoke City 2, so no shock on the cards there. And it's Stockport 0, Walsall 0 as well at half-time in the other games that are ongoing. Later on, you've got Aston Villa against Stevenage, the team, of course, who knocked out Kings Lynn Town in the last round. So, it probably wouldn't have been, the ball numbers always change, what have you, but you'd like to think that Kings Lynn Town could have been there at Villa Park today if they'd have won that game, but never mind. And it's also a big one at 4:30 as well. Manchester City against Chelsea. That'll be a tasty one there. Of course, they played in the league at Stamford Bridge the other night, and City coming out on top in that one. Let's talk local football now, because Norwich are playing this afternoon. Yesterday, our focus was on our local non-league football. Kings Lynn Town were held to a goalless draw at Blythe Spartans in the National League North, while Dereham Town were beaten 3-0 by Shepshed Dynamo in our live commentary game in the Northern Premier Midlands Division. It was a better afternoon for our teams in the Isthmian North. Galston got a rare 3 points, winning 3-1 at New Salamis. Lowestoft Town won a 9-goal thriller against Great Wakering Rovers. And Wroxham continued their fine form with a brilliant 2-0 triumph against Whittam Town at Trafford Park. I'm sure lots of you listening were over there at Trafford Park for a bit of afternoon football. Joe Dean was there for us, and he spoke to Wroxham manager Jordan Southgate after the game.
So, Geordie, 2-0 win, clean sheet. I guess a professional job done?
Yeah, spoke before, didn't we? And we said we know what the task was ahead, and Whittam, they're in a poor run of form, and they were giving it everything and fair play. They gave us a really good game. But to get another clean sheet and another 3 points, delighted. That's 8 unbeaten now, 4 wins in a row, and I couldn't be more happier.
And the 2 goals that came just before half-time in the first half that maybe say Whittam had the better of. There wasn't a lot of chances at either end, but to get those 2 goals before half-time made a big difference.
Yeah, and we knew with how the wind was playing out in the game that we needed to go in ahead at half-time, because it gives us something to hold on to when the conditions changed at half-time. But yeah, like I said, Whittam came out of the traps. They're fighting for everything, and they had a couple of good, decent chances. I felt we were in control, but without creating too much. And then we spoke at half-time about shutting up shop, keeping a clean sheet, and we win the game. That's exactly what we did.
And how much did that change your half-time team talk with those 2 goals going in? Because 0-0, as you said, with the wind against you in the second half, it could have been very difficult.
Yeah, we were talking about changing shape or changing how we were pressing, what we were doing. And then before we knew it, we'd scored 1, and then we scored another 1 within a minute. And it was 2-0. It makes the tie really difficult for Whittam, and a little bit easier for us and a little bit more comfortable. So it certainly changed the team talk, but it didn't change our emphasis of let's keep a clean sheet, let's continue with what we're doing, let's work harder. Let's play with the wind's going to be against us, so think about our passing and the balls that are going in the air, think about where they're going to end up. And yeah, the lads have really done a professional job, and we nicked another 3 points.
And the second half was just about nothing stupid, not giving anything away, and you did a pretty good job of that. There wasn't any really clear-cut chances for them that you can really think of.
No, we kept them quiet second half, which I was really pleased with. The first 15-20 minutes was scrappy and tough, because they'd come out at half-time. Obviously, they had everything to play for, and I think we hit the bar. We had 2 one-on-ones. Arguably, we could have won 3 or 4. before, which probably would have been a fair result in the way the game ended up going. But look, for us it was about getting 3 points, keeping another clean sheet. That's now 3 goals conceded in 8 games. That's tremendous form from us as a group.
And just moves you even further away from those relegation places. And 8 games unbeaten now. I've got that right this time. The confidence must be just building and building.
Yeah, look, they're a great group. They're down to earth. They work their socks off. They train hard. They listen to game plans, and they've had to accept that we aren't going to be the free-flowing team we necessarily were last year in the Thurlow None. We have to be harder to beat, and credit to all of them because they've adapted. They've understood the reasons why, and we're reaping the rewards at the minute, and everyone's bought into it.
You had the Blue Wave as well behind the goal, who were pretty vocal throughout. They had the drum going as well, and that must have really helped push the players through what was a difficult game. The conditions weren't great. We saw lots of balls on the pitch and stuff. It wasn't the cleanest game of football, but those fans made a big difference. Yeah,
they were good today. They turned out in their numbers, which is what we need. They've been here through the good times when we get promoted. They were here when we weren't picking up points at the start of the season, and hopefully now we are picking up points. We can get more of them coming and keep the noise going, because it certainly cheers the lads on.
And the players starting to look even more comfortable at this level. Earlier in the season there was those struggles, but now they go into every game knowing they belong here.
Yeah, they're good footballers. They're good players. A lot of them have played this level or higher. Some of them haven't, but we know we're capable at this level. It just needed time for us to show it, and now we finally are.
Yeah, great to hear from the one and only Jordan Southgate, who's doing a great job, as ever, at Wroxham. They had another good win yesterday as they pull away from the relegation zone. They're well clear of it now, and they won 2-0 against Great Wakering Rovers in the Isthmian North. Whittam Town. It was Lowestoft who beat Great Wakering Rovers. So well done to Wroxham. Not so good for Dereham Town, and a draw for Kings Lynn Town yesterday. They drew 0-0 in their game. So make sure you tune in to Local Report on Thursday night. If you've never heard it before, I'm sure you have if you're a Radio Norfolk listener, but you might be new to it. Every Thursday night, 7 o'clock, a full hour of local football, a comprehensive look at everything right down to grassroots level. Nick Bowler will bring you that, and that follows the scrimmage, which is every week on a Thursday at 6 o'clock. You can also listen to the podcast as well, and make sure you keep your eye on BBC Sounds tomorrow, because at some point tomorrow, as soon as we can get it done, we will bring you a special edition of the scrimmage earlier than usual this week, because we're going to get a chance, along with today, to speak to David Wagner, the new Norwich City manager. We will also hear from Stuart Webber as well, and we'll bring you that podcast just as soon as we get it uploaded for you tomorrow. So probably around about evening tea time, I'd say, for the scrimmage podcast tomorrow, featuring a more in-depth chat with David Wagner, because Chris Gorham, of course, will speak to him today, more about today's game. Tomorrow we'll do a kind of more, as I would say, life and times to him, how he's fitting into Norfolk and what have you, and we'll also hear from Stuart Webber as well. Let's hear from more of your tweets. Hashtag Canary Call. Paul Loveday says, tough to get this lot out of their funk. Our mistakes are ridiculous, though. Peter says, Hanley is in no way captain material. Never has been. This one from Jamie, 2 or 3. I've already read that one, I beg your pardon. Dan says, Hanley and Gibson, both terrible defenders. And Nick says, just shows that the quality of players is not there. A manager can only use what is at their disposal. And it's interesting, isn't it, Chris Gorham? We're heading towards the second half now. I can see the Blackburn players are in the tunnel. Grant Hanley's getting a lot of stick, and for me, and this is only my opinion, this is just me saying this, I think he's been one of our better players this season.
Well, when you listen to football supporters during a game, when he's just made a mistake like that, I'm afraid he's only going to get criticism, because that was a poor goal to give away, and he was the man that was at fault for it. But he's come out, leading his team back out onto the pitch again. These things can happen. I'm sure Grant Hanley is, he's, what is he now, 31. He's been around the block. He's made mistakes before. He will know that all eyes will be on him to improve in the second half. I think, to me, those mistakes can happen. What was more interesting, really, was what was happening at the other end of the pitch, where we still saw a Norwich City team, even with Nunez, Ida, Hernandez, Sarah, Pukki on the pitch, still not really creating a lot. And I think it's almost really useful to have had that in front of David Wagner. 45 minutes in, he's put out what he thinks is the best squad available to him today in terms of creating chances, and they haven't created that many. And I think you've got to take that it is useful that is happening in front of Wagner now, so that he can see what he's got to put right, certainly over the next week and beyond.
Norwich City 0, Blackburn Rovers 1, FA Cup third round. Norwich need to turn this round. Remember, you can listen on DAB, FM and online as well if you download the BBC Sounds app. Let your friends know, as long as they're in the UK, they can listen online. Back to your commentary team now. It's Adrian Coote and Chris Gorham.
And we're about to get underway in the second half with Norwich attacking the Barclay end for the first time under David Wagner, who We'll never know, but I wonder what that half-time team talk would have been like, Cutie. I mean, again, you know what footballers are like. They're a curious bunch. There must be a little bit of them going in and saying, I wonder what he's going to be like at half-time.
Yeah. And I guess they'd have, found out for the first time as well. So it'll be interesting to see whatever the approach was from him at half-time, what impact it's had on the players and how he come out this second half.
Well, he clearly believes he got the right starting 11 because he's not changed it at half-time. As Norwich attack the Barclay end, we're underway. We'll run through the teams for you when we get a chance, but it's Blackburn and they're all dark blue strip who've got possession. They are defending the Barclay end in this second half, leading 1-0. Jack Vale's goal after 31 minutes, given away after a really poor back pass from Grant Hanley, the City skipper, a former Blackburn player, gifting his former club a goal there. And here's Phillips, the young defender who came on in that first half for Blackburn. Goes past Pukki and eventually gets tackled as he enters the Norwich City half. And now McLean's picked up the ball and he's just dropped it in behind the Blackburn defence. Left-hand side, Pukki senses a chance, scampers onto it, feeds it across here to Nunez, 25 yards out. He's going to hit one. Superb defending from Garrett for Blackburn. That sort of typified the way Blackburn have played, blocking that shot.
It's just a brilliant block, for a split second it looked like Nunez would have the time there. Was it Nunez or Sarah?
It was Nunez, yeah.
To pull the trigger, but great determination to put the block in and kind of alleviated any threat that Norwich had caused.
A curious team, Blackburn, because we've seen them twice now at Carrow Road and they've defended superbly in both games. They've given Norwich absolutely nothing. Yet you look at their league record, they've lost 12 games in the Championship.
Yeah.
No draws, won 14, lost 12. So they're clearly, consistency is a problem, isn't it, in the Championship, and that's what we're seeing. Free kick, foul on Aarons to Norwich. Norwich have got Krul in goal. Aarons on Mbemedeli, Hanley and Janulis at the back. McLean and Sarah, the two central midfielders. Nunez and Hernandez playing wide, and Ida playing in the number 10 role behind Pukki. I'll give you the Blackburn team in a moment, but it's Norwich in there, yellow and green. They're trying to build something on the left-hand side with Janulis, and it's deflected out of play for a Norwich throw. Pairs in goal for Blackburn. Carter, Hyam, Wharton, and Wharton's gone off, sorry. So it's Carter, Hyam, Phillips and Pickering at the back now. Travis and Garrett in midfield, Markande and Brereton Diaz in the wide positions, with Dak playing off Vale in attack. Vale's got the goal after some poor Norwich defending, and he might get another chance here because Norwich have conceded possession on halfway pretty poorly, and Brereton Diaz plays the ball forward here, has a shot from the edge of the box that is deflected through to Krul. Norwich getting away with one there. Brereton Diaz's shot after he was found by Dak, smothered by Krul. Got to sharpen up a bit, haven't they, Norwich?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I don't think I've seen Blackburn give up the possession cheaply.
Clever from Sarah and Nunez on the Norwich right, but then when it's played into Pukki, a poor layoff from him and Blackburn able to break it up. Again, just not quite happening for Norwich.
No.
Here's Aarons. We'll bring Adrian Coote in a moment, but the game's just flowing with a Norwich attack now. Ida, halfway inside the Blackburn half, releases Nunez on the right-hand side. Plenty of players back for Blackburn. Here's Sarah. Norwich looking for an equaliser. Sarah looking to pick out Janulis on the left-hand side. Good defending from Carter. Norwich throw. Yeah,
and just, Blackburn not giving up possession as cheap as Norwich have at times, and, contrasting things there. Kind of Nunez has a shot from the edge of the area that's kind of blocked and no threat on goal, and then we give the ball up cheaply. Blackburn get a shot from same sort of area, just not the same kind of determination in terms of trying to block that shot, and they, albeit a kind of lightweight shot, they still managed to get a shot on target that Krul had to save.
Shot from distance, might have got a deflection, but it's comfortable for the goalkeeper to save. He's starting to look a bit frustrated again, Pukki, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's not, of his Norwich City goals, there have been well over 80 of them, 86 I think of them. Not sure how many of them have been from that distance.
No.
For 25 yards. Not many that I can remember. But, well, let's see whether Norwich can work him a clearer opportunity. Trailing 1-0 to Blackburn Rovers here on the third round weekend of the FA Cup. We can bring you coverage of the fourth round, which are in Canary Call, but we may not need to bring you coverage of the fourth round from a Norwich City point of view at least. The draw. Let's see what happens. Blackburn move it towards the right-hand side, and Carter.
Offside.
It should be offside against Dak, but Dak doesn't go to play the ball, so the flag doesn't go up, and no harm done because it just drifts through to Tim Krul, who's looking for his 5th clean sheet of the season, but of course that's gone because he was beaten in the first half after some poor defending. Plays the ball upfield towards Pukki. Pukki jumps, heads it on nicely. Now it's a chance for Ida to try and spark something from the centre circle. He's released Janulis on the left-hand side. The Greek fullback takes the game to Blackburn now. Up towards the corner of the penalty area. Goes outside the fullback, Carter. Tries to cross. Carter gets the block in. And behind it goes, and it will be a Norwich corner.
Yeah, I mean, even now I know it's a bit of an angle, but part of me wants him just to put his left foot through it and just test the goalkeeper, make him do something, hit the target and see if he can use a zip off the surf or, you know, catch one sweetly, because he's 9-10 yards out of goal at a bit of an angle, but I still feel rather than try and pull a ball back and find somebody, just have a shot at goal, see what happens.
Sarah's corner from the left, helped on by Ida. Well, I say helped on, he's actually ended up getting too much on it, and it's looped behind and gone deep into the bottom tier of the Barclay stand. The Blackburn right back, Hayden Carter, it's only his 26th appearance for the team today. First appearance in the FA Cup. He's got Hernandez and Giannoulis, both pacey players running at him. I think he's dealt with them pretty well.
Yeah,
so far,
he has. Yeah, limited them to
the other side of the pitch. Nunez is trying to come forward against Pickering and does well to put him under pressure. Now Pukki with a nice pass gives it to Sarah on the edge of the area. Here's Ida back into the penalty area, blocked. Comes to Ida in the D. Behind him is Nunez, who's just had to take the ball back a little bit to find some room. Giannoulis gives it to Hernandez on the left-hand side, running at Carter now again. Can he open him up the Blackburn defence? It's gone outside the area to Nunez, who's going to hit a shot, bouncing through, comfortable for the goalkeeper again.
Yeah, just interesting when Hernandez picked the ball up on the edge of the area, he was closed down by the right back, and then all of a sudden two more, and so he's got three around him. And you know, when you find yourself in that position, it's about finding the right pass, because obviously they're going to be players short some area of the pitch, and it's about kind of finding that free Norwich player. And
yeah, not been able to do it at the moment. It remains on BBC Radio Norfolk. Norwich City 0, Blackburn Rovers 1. Norwich showing plenty of attacking intent, but yet to really carve out a clear opportunity. It's almost one just misplaced pass at the wrong time, isn't it, that's letting Norwich down, and that has been the case for much of the season. Here's Markande on the right-hand side. Plays the ball back into his own half, and Travis, the Blackburn captain, slides it to Phillips, the 17-year-old. Tall beanpole centre-back who came on in that first half, very early on in the first half when Scott Wharton was injured. And now the ball goes to the right-hand side, and it's played forward by Blackburn. Giannoulis cuts it out. McLean takes a touch. 10 yards or so inside his own half, gets bundled over, and Norwich have a free kick.
Yeah, and I guess the frustrating bit about that kind of misplaced passes in Ida and Pukki, you know they've got goals in them. You know, I know it hasn't quite kicked on for Ida, but we've seen that he's able to score goals. And Sargent, when he comes back in, I guess on the positive side is that can be worked on. You know, you can do stuff on that in training, and you know, you can make that right. And you know, when that does happen and you know it does take off, then hopefully we can be a bit more of a threat in front of goal.
That sums it up there. McLean playing what should be a fairly simple pass to Giannoulis on the left-hand side, and it just went under his foot and ran away and out for a throw-in. Kieran Dowell looks like he might be the first substitute to be brought on by David Wagner. He's getting ready over there on the far side.
It'd be interesting to see for who.
And we'll see what happens. Here comes the throw-in for Blackburn on the right-hand side. Taking quite a long time over this. Yeah, it's taking a long time over the throw-in. He's been shown a yellow card there as Carter. A bit early to be booked for time wasting, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like it's useful in the sense that, you know, it sends a message now then, and you know, I don't think we'll see Blackburn time wasting again, although we probably will.
Yes, well, we won't see that player time wasting again.
No.
More movement over on the far side. Hugill perhaps up and getting ready as well. I'm not sure actually how quickly the substitutes are going to come on, but there's certainly three Norwich players getting stripped if they're ready to come on. Jacob Sorensen standing up over there, Dowell's over there, Hugill's over there, they're all up on their feet. I don't know whether we're going to see all three of them anytime soon. David Wagner has given it almost 10 minutes of the second half. Maybe he's going to make changes.
Yeah, and you know, we'll see. And you know, this is the game to do it. It's a competition you want to do well in, but like we say, it's not as impactful as a league game. You know, it's not as if we've got to go chasing 3 points. So you know, may feel that these can come on and change the game as well, you know, because they're good players and have had first team experience as well. So interesting to see who comes off.
Aaron's getting boxed in the right back position, trying to slide it away. It's gone out of play, throw in to Blackburn. And yeah, well, 9 subs named by both managers for this game. They can use 5 of them. And the starting 11 that David Wagner sent out finds itself a goal down 10 minutes into the second half. So he's going to make changes by the looks of it. Good tackle there from Nunez. The ball loops up in the air to Pukki. Pukki just couldn't quite take it in his stride, but he's got a throw in for his team. Player still looking for his first FA Cup goal, Teemu Pukki, on this right-hand side. Norwich got to the 5th round last year. They beat Charlton of League One. It was a pretty forgettable performance from Norwich, but they found a way to beat Charlton on the 3rd round weekend last year, with Milot Rashica scoring the only goal of the game. Well, they knocked out Wolves in the 4th round before losing at Anfield. Giannoulis does well on the left-hand side, plays it forward early now towards Ida. Ida looking to get a run on Phillips. Two go shoulder to shoulder. Ida emerges with the ball. Giannoulis is outside it. Then just loses his footing as he takes on Phillips, but Giannoulis has still got the ball. He's got plenty of yellow shirts in the penalty area, but he plays it short to Sarah, who now feeds Hernandez, who turns on the edge of the box. Central position, shot, ferocious shot. Goalkeeper makes a good save. That's much the closest Norwich have come to scoring.
Much better, yeah. Ida as well, I like the physicality, didn't get pushed off the ball easily and showed his strength there and picked a sensible pass. And
well, it is more than 3 years since Onel Hernandez scored on this ground for Norwich City. And that wasn't far away. He really got hold of that one. It was a smart save from Pears, who not only did he dive and save it, he actually held on to it as well.
Yeah.
Didn't push it out to the onrushing Norwich players. Bit of encouragement there, perhaps. Blackburn with their goal scorer Vale in midfield, challenged by Hanley. Hanley's won the ball, and Norwich have got it with Sarah on the left-hand side. Giannoulis racing up in front of him, gets there, but Vale tackling back really well. It's a great challenge and a throw-in for Norwich City, who have got 3 substitutes ready to come on, Norwich, but they're not going to make the change just yet, I don't think. They're going to see whether they can create anything from a throw-in. Well, it was a throw-in high up the pitch, but they've actually played it immediately back to the halfway line. Every Blackburn player back behind the ball, protecting their 1-goal lead. Hanley floats it over towards the left-hand side. It's been headed away, and will be another Norwich throw-in.
Bit Pookie-like from Vale there, kind of
fantastic,
making big tackle at right-back position, because,
So actually it's Sinani's going to come on. He's a player who's just got up over on that far side. So that was Hernandez's last action. He's coming off, and it is going to be Danel Sinani who will come on for Onel Hernandez. That's the first change. So Sinani, a player who got a couple of goals earlier on in the season. Ida is replaced by Hugill, and Kieran Dow has come on for Nunez. So Nunez off, Dow on, Ida off, Hugill on, and we see Sinani replacing Hernandez. So let's see whether that can make an instant difference as the cross comes in from Sarah on the left-hand side. Sinani was almost in there. It's Dow on the edge of the box. His shot through to Sarah in the 6-yard box. He just couldn't control it, and Blackburn, I think, are going to bring it away. So fascinating to see how Norwich line up now with Ida having been taken off, and Hugill, whose chances have been few and far between this season, did score in the 3rd round 2 years ago for Norwich against Coventry. He's up alongside Pookie now. Here comes Aarons on the right-hand side. Uses Danel Sinani for support. We've got subs on looking to make an impact. Sinani, as the rain falls again, finds Kieran Dow. Nice little turn from Dow. Into the D he goes. He's managed to smuggle it through to Pookie. Pookie can't quite dig it out. He's crowded out of it here, Pookie. He's still got the ball. He releases Aarons, right edge of the penalty area. Aarons takes on his man, crosses, and it's blocked. He'll get another go, Aarons. It's a packed penalty area. He shoots. He's hit Pookie this time, and it's blocked and cleared away. But Norwich come again, really piling the pressure on now. Sarah with a shot from distance that sails high over the bar. Bit of a waste, but straight away, Sinani, Dow, Hugill, all in on the action.
Yeah,
trying to catch the manager's
impetus, and gets the crowd going and stuff like that, and they'll all feel like they could have been given more opportunities under previous management, so they'll all feel like they've got a point to prove. And what better opportunity now with 30 odd minutes of a game left, 1-0 down, to come on and make your mark.
So Norwich have now switched to Sinani on the right, Dow sort of playing from the left, but they've got Pookie has dropped into the number 10 position behind Hugill now, hasn't he?
Yeah,
that's
interesting.
The change.
Yep.
But it's a very tight. You wouldn't say either Dow nor Sinani are natural wingers, so it's all very narrow for Norwich as Hyam plays the ball back to his goalkeeper Pears, and he's closed down by Hugill. Pears gets the kick away though, good goalkeeping. And now Pickering clears the ball straight into Sinani, and it's a throw into Blackburn in their left-back position. Rain falling again. They had a bit of a respite during half-time, but now the rain is falling again with almost an hour gone. Will David Wagner's substitutes make a difference and keep his new team in the FA Cup? They're 1-0 down to Blackburn. But Jordan Hugill's on. Only 7 appearances in the league this season, all as a substitute, Hugill. They play against his former team Preston next Saturday in what will be the first league game under David Wagner. He's got a chance to really catch the eye here. He's got 1 goal this season in the League Cup, as Vale has the ball on halfway for Blackburn. Had to weather a bit of a storm over the last few moments. They've done it though. Hanley comes across and puts it out of play for a Blackburn throw, which Carter takes quickly, too quickly. Dow intercepts well, and it's cleared by Norwich. And then a poor touch from Dak gives Norwich City another throw in. The hood's back up for David Wagner on the far side.
I feel Hugo, from what I've seen of him, you know, I mean, there's lots of components to being a striker, but you know, I genuinely feel like he knows where the goal is, and if you can get the ball to him in the right areas, you know, I feel like he can, you know, finish the ball off, put the ball away, whatever you like. But it's just those other bits that come with being a striker is what we need to kind of look out for, bringing other players in. And
I'll tell you what might help his cause. He scored for Preston against David Wagner's Huddersfield. So I wonder if Wagner looked at that and thought, oh yeah, I remember him. Let's see what he's got. Here's Sinani. Great pass towards the left-hand side, the right-hand side. He's picked out Aarons on the attack. Aarons back to Sinani on the edge of the Blackburn penalty area. Played into Pukki. Pukki tightly marked there by Hyam, who makes a good tackle and clears the ball away.
I just think Pukki's been really closely marked. You know, he's trying everything and it just doesn't seem to be coming off for him.
Sinani plays the ball in towards the Blackburn penalty area once again, headed away. Heavy touch from Pickering, but he clears from the Blackburn left-back position. Most of the game now, although Norwich are 1-0 down, most of the game is being played towards the Barkley end, away to our right. That's the end Norwich are attacking. Hanley, nearly caught on the ball there by Markanday, but he gets away with it. Keeps his composure, and the ball played forward there towards Hugill, but Blackburn have nicked it with Garrett in midfield. Now Hyam.
Would have been more on Tim Krul than that would have been on Hanley, that one. It was a bit of a risky pass, to say the least.
Here's Daniel Sinani. 2 goals back at the start of this season, back in August, but nothing since. Aarons plays it across towards the edge of the box, but it's a bit of a nothing pass, really. It's easily dealt with by Blackburn. They now try to get on the break with Brereton Diaz. Omar Bemadeli sees to him, puts it out of play, throw in. Still 1-0 to Blackburn. Norwich have got half an hour or so to spark any sort of cup run for this season.
Yeah. Just see the impact the rain has had on the pitch there. On Bamadeli with that tackle, he kind of slid for the ball and didn't stop.
Yes, you can see, can't you?
Yeah, it's
almost
about 10 feet.
Almost you don't need VAR lines, do you? Because you can see exactly where the players slide like that, where they've gone. Norwich would only be 1 win in 10 home games if they don't win this one, which is such a poor run. And one of the many reasons why Norwich City supporters are demanding big improvements, and why David Wagner finds himself tasked with finding those big improvements. We'll talk to him after the game. You can hear it during Canary Call. It'll be fascinating to see what he's made of his team's efforts today.
Yep.
As the ball is back with Ainsley Pears, the Blackburn goalkeeper. He's made a couple of smart saves. Loose pass there from Phillips for Blackburn. McLean got to the ball and was then fouled by Travis, the Blackburn captain, who's pleading his innocence, but that is a free kick.
Yeah, you can tell a lot by a manager about how they kind of respond to defeats, to victories, to performances. And I guess one thing I liked about Farker is, you know, in victory it was all about the players, and he was quick to kind of, you know, let them take all the credit for it, and in the defeats he was happy to take responsibility for some of his decisions. So be interesting to see what kind of approach Wagner has.
Sarah's free kick played into the Blackburn penalty area. Hugo was up but couldn't quite get there. Dow's shot didn't quite get hold of it from the edge of the penalty area. Spins free in the box. Blackburn get there first and clear, and they've slid it up to Vale now, who will just bring it up towards the halfway line. He'll overrun it, but he has released the pressure on his team. Norwich have possession from the throw-in, taken quickly by Janulis. It comes towards Omar Bemadeli on halfway. Now McLean takes a touch. Kenny McLean, already given a new contract, of course, by the previous management team. Here's Aarons, finds Hanley in the centre circle. Hanley coming forward against his former team here, desperate to make amends after conceding a goal in the first half. That was his fault. Janulis on the left-hand side. Does well to find Sarah, 25 yards out. Sarah shields the ball, finds Max Aarons. Aarons now. That goes past his man into the penalty area. Hits a shot, but the goalkeeper turns over the top fairly comfortably. But Max Aarons is looking like a bit of a useful outlet here for Norwich. This is Norwich's 10th corner coming up now.
Yeah, and they just need to convert one of these now. Other than that Hanley header that was sort of tipped over first half, I can't remember them creating a lot from a corner. So, you know, we've got Hugill now, Hanley.
Everyone's back for Blackburn. There's the corner in front of the Barkley. Played in, header goalwards! Oh, it's just over the top. It was Sinani who got there.
Oh, I wonder if it come off his shoulder, you know. It didn't seem to get a good connection on it, even though it was a free header.
Oh, it's such a strange one. He sort of ducked under the ball.
Yeah, it's hit him on the back of the neck. Yeah.
He couldn't do that again if he tried, Sinani. Ball, whether it got a flick in front of him, and he sort of stooped to head the ball, and it actually went over the top of his head and hit him on the back or the back of the neck, didn't it? And bounced over the bar.
And as harsh as it sounds, I mean, them's the opportunities, you know, within a game that kind of almost not cement your place in the squad for the rest of the season, but certainly make you stand out enough with your opportunity to say, you know, deserving of a start. You know, you brought me in within 5 minutes, I've scored a goal for you.
McLean plays the ball forward. Sinani's made a run here, but it can't get there. It's gone through to the goalkeeper Pears. Yeah, you're right. I mean, yes, he's unlucky because the ball's not come to him as he would have liked, but it was still a chance for a free header 6 yards out, wasn't it? That Sinani couldn't take. A player who has now no goals in his last 12 Norwich appearances after starting the season fairly brightly, getting a couple of goals here at Carrow Road. He's back with Pears, the goalkeeper for Blackburn, who has made some decent saves today. They've all been pretty comfortable though, haven't they, really?
Yeah.
But what he's needed to, when he's been needed, he's been there in good effect as Ainsley Pears, and he strokes the ball into Hyam, the centre-back, who sweeps a pass over towards the right-hand side, picks out Carter. Carter plays the ball forward. Blackburn turning defence into attack quickly here. Brereton Diaz takes it into the Norwich penalty area. Nice back heel from him. But the run of Markanday is watched well by Giannoulis, who then, trying to dribble the ball away, has lost possession and needs some help from his team, and gets help from his team. And now Giannoulis has been able to release Dowell on the left-hand side. Dowell, the substitute, powering over the halfway line now. He's got 3 up in support. He crosses early into the penalty area. Just too high for Hugo.
Idea.
Just too high for Hugo. Kept in, though, by Sinani on the right-hand side. He delivers into the penalty area, headed away. Comes to Aarons on the right-hand side. Aarons on the attack for Norwich City. Pookie's made a good run in space into the penalty area. He turns. He's crowded out again here. Pookie's getting no space. Sinani on the corner of the area. Plays it. Oh, a dangerous ball right through the 6-yard box. Goalkeeper gets it. That was a decent pass in from Sinani.
You just want one of them to take a gamble and just make that run across the front of the goalkeeper. Even if they don't connect it, you just sort of take the goalie's eye off the ball, and, you know, you've seen him sneak into the back post. But, again, you know, more of the same I think we need. You know, it's impacted on the crowd. You can hear them getting behind the team now, and dear,
nasty challenge there from Carter, full-blooded I should say, really full-blooded, went in, made sure that he got the ball, and it's gone out of play off McLean, and it is Carter's last action. He's not going to get a red card, but he is going to be substituted, Carter, for Joe Rankin Costello. I think Carter's played well. He's probably been taken off because he's on a yellow card more than anything else, and Rankin Costello will replace him. Just looking to see whether they're going to make another change as well. They are. Bale, the goal scorer, took his chance well in the first half. He is going to be replaced by Ryan Hedges, is going to come on for the final quarter of this game. I mean, I know Norwich haven't scored yet, but just the last few moments, last 10-15 minutes, been better, hasn't it? They've looked more likely. Yeah,
I mean, and again, you'd have to say the kind of the changes has made has had a small impact on the game, or, you know, slightly larger than small impact on the game, in that, you know, it seems to be in Blackburn's half a lot of the ball, and although nothing clear-cut, we are creating more opportunities, putting the ball in dangerous areas. And I think what Pookie's finding, and some of the others, is that they're just getting crowded out. Blackburn are defending well, numbers behind the ball, and it's going to take something smart or special to get Norwich back in this game.
Yeah, well, we saw Dowell a whisker away from setting up Hugo with a cross a moment ago. Sinani then going close a couple of times, but it's Blackburn attacking now. Good tackle from McLean. Pookie's got possession halfway inside his own half. That's how hard Norwich are having to work to try and get themselves back into this game. As it stands, Norwich are on their way out of the FA Cup, 1-0 down. Looking at a second home defeat to Blackburn in the space of less than a month. But here's Sinani in the centre circle. Daniel Sinani with a bit of space. To Dowell, back to Sinani, through the middle. Sinani with a nice pass here to Timo Pukki from the angle, plays it across, and Hugo can't quite get there. Cleared, just a little bit too wide.
Yeah, I wonder if he was looking for Dowell, and it just needed to be
Norwich have taken the throw in quickly. Sinani with another good pass. He's found Aarons in the penalty area, who's gone down. And now Pookie's gone down. Referee hasn't given a penalty for either. Pukki picks himself up, tries the cross. Brereton Diaz blocks, and it's a Norwich corner. Well, this is the most sustained spell of Norwich pressure I can remember at Carrow Road for quite some time.
And again, I wonder if an informed, confident Timo Pukki just sticks his foot through that ball, because we've seen him time and again score from there. And yeah, I just wonder if he's taken the easy way out by trying to square it. I'd be much happier the ball at his feet at that angle than anybody else's.
Well, Hugo was in the 6-yard box. I've not seen the replay, but Dowell wasn't far away either.
I think Dowell was kind of arriving back post, and I think if he was just trying to slide it in between everybody and have him tap into an empty net. But
1-0 to Blackburn. Norwich have a corner, 20 minutes to go. Can they make this spell of pressure they're putting on Blackburn at the moment actually lead to a goal? Corner in front of the Barclay end. Sarah to deliver from the right-hand side towards the far post. Hanley was up, didn't quite get there. Sinani with a volley that goes right through the penalty area and has to be controlled beautifully by Sarah, who crosses from the right-hand side again. It's come off a Blackburn head. Goes towards Sinani at the far post. Plays it across. There's a touch in there from Pukki at the near post. It goes wide. And a goal kick is given. Did it hit the outside of the post, that little touch from Pukki? Well, they were putting the pressure on here, aren't they? We're seeing it again. Eventually, Sinani played it into the near post.
Yeah,
got there, sort of side netting, isn't it?
Yeah, one of them.
Well,
but again, you know, positive.
That would have been some goal from Sinani if that volley had gone in.
He caught it really, really well.
Now Blackburn have given it away. A little bit more intensity about Norwich now. And the ball's been played up to Pukki in the penalty area. He turns, he can't get the shot in. Again, he just finds himself surrounded by Blackburn players.
Yeah, and give credit to Blackburn for that. You know, they're not switching off, and it's been really tricky for Norwich to kind of break them down in the sense of creating something clear cut. You feel like something's brewing, something's coming maybe, but you know, you speak to Pukki after game and he'll say that, you know, he just couldn't get any time or space or opportunity on the ball. He was crowded out each time. And
I know people will say Norwich haven't scored, and they haven't, and they need to if they're going to keep themselves in the FA Cup, but these last few minutes, a lot more of attacking intensity than we've been used to seeing from Norwich. And they've been creating chances too, just not one that they've been able to take. Sinani gets the ball back to Omid Bamadeli. He squirts it up towards the halfway line. Good header there from Hyam. Then it goes behind Brereton Diaz. And Hedges runs it out of play, and it's a throw-in.
Yeah, he's been involved a lot, Sinani. You know, a lot's gone through him since he's come on, and you know, he's across on the right-hand side. He's been on the left-hand side. He's sort of here, there, and everywhere at the moment.
He's playing like a player who thinks he's got to catch the manager's eye, isn't he, Daniel Sinani? He's lost possession there, though, on halfway. And Blackburn have got 4 up in the attack here. And one of them is Brereton Diaz, who's in the penalty area, plays it across. That looked like handball by Grant Hanley, and it's not going to be given. He's got away with that one there as the Norwich City captain, because that looked, at first glance, like a clear handball from the City skipper.
And an intentional one, so nobody appealed. Not one Blackburn player.
Brereton Diaz looked at the referee thinking, well, he's going to give this in a minute, and he didn't. Here's Dak for Blackburn. No VAR at Carrow Road in the Cup this year. Garrett. That's a foul by Hugill on Dak. Yeah, Jordan Hugill back trying to help out defensively. He's going to get a yellow card. But I tell you what, we'll see a replay on our monitor here of that. Premier League grounds have got VAR in the FA Cup. I mean, we're seeing a replay of the foul, first of all, by Hugill. That was a clear yellow card. He can't complain about that. But before that, the little block by Hanley. I mean, I would say, if you're at a ground with VAR, that's a clear handball, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. I mean, my first thought when I saw it was he's moved his arm towards the ball there, and again, looking at that, hasn't changed my opinion. Well,
I'm not. Do you know what? I'm not so sure now. Yeah. It's a hand sort of by his side, isn't it? And the ball.
Yeah, it's clever. You know, you can.
Yeah,
it's a hard one to explain, but I feel like he knows that if
we can certainly chalk that as one we would have been appealing for at the other end. 1-0, Blackburn lead, and they've got a free kick which Dak will take. To the left of centre, about 25 yards out. Perhaps not a shooting opportunity, but a good chance to get pressure into the penalty area. There's the delivery, it's not a bad one. Hanley has very nearly turned that into his own net, but Krul makes a brilliant save. Grant Hanley, he's given away 1 goal. He's very nearly given away a penalty, and he's very nearly scored an own goal there. It's Ben Gibson scored an own goal last time Blackburn came here.
Yeah.
That actually hit the post, didn't it?
Yes, I think Krul saved it. No, it's hit
the post. He's hit the post.
They've give a corner.
Well, yeah, still a corner because it came off Hanley. But
yeah, of course. Yeah. But I think, you know, credit to the quality of the ball in as well, because he kind of forced Hanley in that position where he had to deal with it. He couldn't let it go, and he's running back towards his own goal. So he's lucky in the sense that it didn't go in.
Blackburn's turn to threaten, and as the ball comes in from the corner, there's a push in the penalty area, and Norwich get the free kick. I thought Krul saved his skipper there, but when you see it again, it's the post from Hanley. He's having quite an afternoon, isn't he, Grant Hanley, under David Wagner. He's David Wagner's captain, and he's given away 1 goal, the only goal of the game, the one that still has Blackburn in front, let's not forget. Very nearly scored an own goal and could quite easily have had a penalty given against him as well. McLean.
To pop up the other end now with a header from a corner to equalise it.
There's a mistake at the back by Blackburn, and Janulis was nearly in. Header back to the goalkeeper. And Pears again sort of saved his teammate there, because that was a header back to him where the player who made the header, I don't think, Rankin Costello, I don't think he knew Janulis was so close to him, did he? No. He can't have done, because you wouldn't have done that
if it had been sort of 2 yards further back in his 18-yard box, I think Janulis might have got a foot to that, but obviously expecting it, positioned himself well, and we go again.
1-0 to Blackburn. Norwich have had a good spell of pressure in this second half, but haven't been able to make it tell. Quarter of an hour to go. Blackburn might feel that they've seen off the Norwich danger spell, because Norwich have actually had a habit of conceding goals at this sort of time recently, or from this time onwards. And here's Garrett for Blackburn, shooting from 25 yards, low along the ground, easy for Krul to take. Jake Garrett, it's only his 10th first team appearance. All of them have been this season, the 19-year-old. John Dale Thomason will be really proud with the effort that his team have given him, because he has made not significant changes, but he's made a few changes today. Players like Garrett and Travis and Carter, and Vale's got the goal.
Yeah. I think that, Blackburn have been very solid, very difficult to break down defensively, well organised, and it's only now, kind of since the changes and the fact that Norwich are 1-0 down and at home, that Norwich seems to be more and more in the game and putting more pressure on Blackburn. But up until now, I feel like they've kind of managed the threat well.
Omar Bamidele wins a little header on halfway. Aarons caught there by Dak, was he? Looked like it. Referee says no. Aarons is still competing for possession on the ground. Sinani goes to help him. Blackburn emerge with the ball. Travis on the left-hand side to Brereton Diaz. Now played through by Hedges, but it's fallen again kindly for Brereton Diaz, who plays it into the penalty area here. He's sold Dylan Markanday slightly wide on the Blackburn right, but here he goes. Good interception there from Dow, but Markanday's got it back. He shoots low. Comfortable save for Krul. Blackburn's turn to enjoy the spell of possession. Krul bowls the ball out to Daniel Sinani on the right-hand side, still inside his own half. He's got three up in front of him. Tries to find Pukki, who's going to go outside Hyam here on the right. Pukki's got there. Runs at Hyam, who gets a good block in there. That's strong defending from Hyam. Pukki seemed to have the beating of him and then ran towards him, didn't it? Yeah. Rather than away from him.
Took one in the face for his troubles, by the looks like it as well.
Ball goes back to the goalkeeper Pears, who played well today, and he clears it away. Hanley doesn't win the header on halfway. Beaten to it by Brereton Diaz. Brereton Diaz is the only one up here for Blackburn, waiting for support to arrive. When it does, it's Dak, but he's brilliantly beaten to it by Kenny McLean, who was so determined to slide in there. And then there's a foul.
No different from Hugels, that one.
There was a foul there. Aarons is down. Free kick to Norwich City. I think the referee's going to keep card in the pocket this time, but Pickering just made sure that Aarons wasn't going anywhere.
Yep.
13 minutes to go. 1-0 Blackburn Rovers lead. Norwich going out of the FA Cup. Can they get the goal that would force a replay? And a trip to Ewood Park in about 10 days' time. Here's Aarons on the right for Norwich City. Finds Sarah. And now back it goes to Owen Bamidele. And here's Kenny McLean, who's just dropped in between those two Norwich centre-backs. Owen Bamidele up towards the halfway line. Takes on Dak. Finds Sinani. Back it comes now to Sarah. And here's Hanley in the centre circle. 1-0 Blackburn lead. Hanley's had a difficult afternoon. Finds McLean. Now it's Omar Bamidele. Norwich moving the ball forward and finding Max Aarons on the right-hand side. Aarons finds himself crowded out, so has to find Dow. And now Sinani. Nice pass towards Pukki, but Hyam's done a good job on Pukki all through the game. Beats him to that one. And now Blackburn don't keep possession. Here's Dow. Little pass from Dow towards Gabriel Sarah, up towards the edge of the penalty area. Crosses from the left. Dow gets a touch, headed away by Pickering for Blackburn. And behind it goes for another Norwich corner. 12 of them they've had corners in this game. They haven't managed to make them tell yet. David Wagner watches, hands in the pockets of his big padded coat.
Right, Mr. Hanley, let's talk about those amends you need to make.
He's gone up, of course he has. So's on my Bamidele. Hugels in there as well to aim for. Sarah's corner from the left, and it comes. Goalkeeper's going to punch it away. And it's going to be cleared, but only as far as Yanulis, who sets up Aarons. Sinani's got room on the right-hand side. Here he is. Can he find the right ball? He's waited for Aarons on the overlap. His cross comes off a Blackburn defender. Hanley's still up there. He heads it down, and it's headed away by Hyam. McLean is confident the ball's going to drop for him. He's already pointing his teammates to make runs. McLean does well. Beats one man, shoots. It's blocked. Norwich fans want a penalty. It's not been given for handball. Omar Bamidele finds Aarons on the right-hand side. Sinani's available. Aarons, though, tries to work it through towards Dow, but it's not the right idea, that, I think, from Aarons. It was asking a lot of doubt, but it's behind for a goal kick, and Aarons frustrated with himself there. Yeah,
regroup. So, 12 minutes plus whatever stoppage time. I'm sure there'll be other opportunities created, so, it feels a bit like time is running out, but we just got to keep sticking with it and hoping one will drop for us and, get someone like Hugo, Sinani or Pukki to kind of fall on it and put the chance away. And
Liam Gibbs and Sam McCallum, I think, are going to come on. Oh, Dak plays a risky ball across his own penalty area that Pukki was... Well, if he hadn't shaven his head, Pukki, I think he might have got to that one.
Yeah.
It was just over the top of his head. Dak with a better ball forward this time, looking for Brereton Diaz, who's occupying the Norwich defence. And occupying on Mabamidele and taking him on, but the Irishman makes a good challenge. 10 minutes to go. 1-0 to Blackburn. Gabriel Sarra doing well to hold off the challenge and find Sinani on this right-hand side. Sinani waits, needs an option, and switches play with one curling pass, looking for Janulis, but it was under hit. Markande got back and intercepted, and the ball's cleared away. Liam Gibbs and Sam McCallum are the next two substitutes that David Wagner's going to send on. Is he going to start life as Norwich City head coach with an FA Cup defeat? Looks like it at the moment, but there's still 10 minutes to go. 1-0 to Blackburn. Aaron's offside. You can't quite believe it there, can you, Matt?
It's one of those, you know, where you're looking across the line, you can see everything. And
Janulis is off. McCallum is on. Those two will continue to battle it out for that left-back position. Be interesting to see who Wagner goes with when it's a league game next Saturday at Preston. And Gabriel Sarra is going to be removed. And Liam Gibbs is going to come on for what is his first ever FA Cup appearance with 10 minutes to go. What do you think then, Kuti?
I just think that we just got to keep trying to take the game to Blackburn and carve out opportunities, and hope that one falls, and we come away from this with a draw. And I think there's bits you can look at that you can say definitely need improvement, that Wagner will see, and you can take some positives out of it as well. I feel like there has been some.
I think the second half has been better, hasn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of have Norwich look like creating chances? Well, they have in the second half. And here is McLean. He's found Hugill. Hugill from the edge of the penalty area shoots. Straight at the keeper. Pukki was available. I think Sinani was available as well. You can't really blame Hugill for going for goal there.
No.
But he just couldn't
again,
take
it's
the
that
chance.
opportunity, isn't it? I've been watching him in the warm-up, and they've been doing shooting drills as part of their warm-up, and he was putting them away for fun. I didn't see him miss one.
That one was... Again, one thing I would say about this goalkeeper, Ainsley Pears, who's the Blackburn backup goalkeeper, let's not forget, he's very good at holding the ball, isn't he? The amount of saves that he's made today where the ball, he hasn't pushed it out again, he's really good at getting his body behind it and holding on to it.
Yeah, and in the conditions as well, with it being a bit wet and slippery and stuff.
McLean's found McCallum, left-hand side. McCallum's first touch since coming on is to win a corner for his team, because Markande made a good challenge. 13 corners now for Norwich City.
Just convert one, any one of them.
Law of averages.
Get one now, and then we probably get another one before the end as well, and then that would just be job done.
Well, German managers late goals.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Did I mention Boxing Day?
Norwich are 1-0 down. 8 minutes to go. Sinani's corner, left-hand side, played in. There's a header. Goalkeeper turns it over the top.
Similar to the one from the first half. I think it's at the goalie. It's comfortable for him. I think this one was a bit lower and more chance of going in, but
Hugill it was, but it had to be pushed over.
Yeah, took no chances.
And so Sinani gets ready with another corner in front of the snake pit of Carrow Road as they look to try and score the first goal under David Wagner in front of the Barclay end. There's the corner from Sinani, played in near post. Hugill's up. It's come off a Blackburn player. It's got up in the air. Hanley gets his head to it. And it just won't drop for a teammate. And Blackburn have scrambled it away. Referee's going to stop it, because in amongst that crowd of players in the penalty area, as so often happens, there's a Blackburn player down injured. It's Phillips, who was caught with the elbow of Grant Hanley there.
It's not like that for me.
No, but it's you can see why. You can see why he's gone down there. I think Hanley has caught him, and he's only 17, but he's got the nous to go down and just prevent Norwich from getting the ball back into the box. So what will David Wagner have learnt, do you think, from this?
He'd have learned that he's got some good players here, and that set up in the right way and given the right information and confidence and belief that they can go out and perform. I just feel like that's missing, and we'll only start seeing that over the course of a few games. It's not something that you can just switch on and off confidence and belief. It's something that sort of comes with playing well and doing the right things and things coming off. And I wouldn't say this has been vintage Norwich and brilliant, but I wouldn't say it's been a poor performance. I think we need to give credit to Blackburn. I think they've played well. They've gotten their goal, and they seem to have sort of managed the game well. They haven't had many opportunities in terms of an attacking threat, but they've not needed them. They've done their defensive bits well and well organised, and just been really difficult to break down.
We're back underway with the drop ball. Phillips is back on the pitch. Here's Sinani for Norwich City. Fanny McLean. 5.5 minutes to go. 1-0 to Blackburn. Every Blackburn player is back behind the ball. They have defended really well, protecting their lead for all they're worth. Gibbs finds McCallum on the left-hand side. It's back to Liam Gibbs, who's made a determined run, and he's got tackled, and that will be another corner. 15 corners. I don't know when the last time Norwich had 15 corners in a game was. Someone will be able to find out. This one looks like it might be taken short. No. Gibbs is going to allow Sinani to take it. And now it will be taken short to Gibbs from Sinani. And he's going to go himself here. Gibbs crosses into the penalty area, but again, they don't make the most of it. It's cleared away.
It riles me up short corners, especially when the ball doesn't come in properly. You've got an opportunity to put the ball into the opposition penalty area.
And you need a goal. Here's Gibbs holding off the challenges, winning a free kick for his team, left-hand side. Yeah, I mean, short corners have their place, and they do sometimes work, but 5 minutes to go and you're 1-0 down, you need a goal. You can't really turn up an opportunity to get it into the box, can you?
No.
Maybe a bit simplistic, but that's the way it always feels.
There's strategies and tactics board goes out the window. It's you get a goal whatever way you can.
Free kick. Gibbs on his FA Cup debut is going to take from the left-hand side. And will aim for the penalty area. No, he won't. He'll leave it for Sinani to aim for the penalty area from the left-hand side. It's gone a long way. It hits Aarons. McLean's shot. Oh, goalkeeper's made the save, and now McLean is cursing his luck. He didn't quite get hold of that.
No, it's just straight at the goalie, wasn't it? Again, a comfortable save for him, but it just proves, put the ball in the box and you can make something happen even if you don't win the first one. Get people around the second one and
the goalkeeper.
I can see the goalie getting the yellow card.
It's taken a long time, isn't he, Ainsley Pears, before deciding to launch the ball upfield. He now does. 3.5 minutes to go on BBC Radio Norfolk. Starting to feel like the best Norwich are going to get out of this is a replay, because they're 1-0 down. And they've not taken their chances. They've had lots of shots in this second half. Many more than I've seen in many recent games. But it's not quite been enough. Hugo, one of those who's gone close since coming on as a substitute. Blackburn have moved it forward. Good tackle from McLean, who scored against Blackburn in the league a couple of seasons ago here. The 1-1 draw. Just looking for the ball. Very over-eager there, McLean. Doesn't get it. And it's fallen for Hedges for Blackburn. And now it rebounds out towards Markanday, who plays it towards the penalty area. Bradley Dack about to come off for Blackburn. They've got a substitute ready to come on, so I think they're going to shore it up even more. Not that it needs much shoring up. They've defended well. Good play on the left-hand side there initially. Doubt, but just couldn't get over the halfway line. And Blackburn now come forward. Here's Brereton Diaz, left-hand side, chesting it down, waiting for support to arrive. Blackburn know if they can keep the ball in the Norwich half now, they're going to be through to the fourth round. The draw coming up, but in fact they've gone back now to their goalkeeper. Hyam gives it to Pears. Pears blasts the ball through the middle. Dack takes a touch, surely from an offside position. Yeah, I think that'll be it.
See, if he'd have let that run, I don't know who it was making a run through, and they'd have been one-on-one.
Dack is going to come off. That's his last move of the game. And Tyler Morton is going to come on. Player who... Tyler Morton was in the Liverpool team that knocked Norwich out of the FA Cup last season. He was in the Liverpool team that knocked Norwich out of the League Cup last season. And now he's on loan from Liverpool. It looks like he might be in the Blackburn team that's going to knock Norwich out of the FA Cup. So...
hat-trick.
That is, isn't it? Three cup competitions in 2 seasons that Tyler Morton's been involved in dumping Norwich out of. Unless, in these last 2 minutes, there's a bit of a David Wagner late special. We wait for the first goal under the new German head coach. One has been enough for Blackburn at the moment. Here's Omar Bamadelli at Carrow Road. Interesting to see how much stoppage time we get. Forward he comes, right-hand side. Deep in Blackburn half, and he's going to keep going against Brereton Diaz. And now he's got to make sure he doesn't foul him because he's lost possession. But he's got Brereton Diaz going back towards his own penalty area, and he's done well on Bamadelli. And in the end, wins a corner for his team.
There we go, yeah.
The corner count is up to 16 now for Norwich City.
Any way you can. Right, this needs to come in. I don't want anyone running to get this short.
I don't know if we're up to Tim Krul going forward.
I think we're not far off.
Wait, no.
I mean, how tall is Krul?
He's in the centre circle at the moment, watching as the corner comes in from Sinani from the right-hand side, headed away by Blackburn. Pookie chases it, corner of the penalty area, picks it up on the left-hand side, gives it to Sam McCallum. McCallum's cross into the penalty area, not a bad one, but Hyam gets there at the near post and clears, and it's high in the air, and then McCallum tries to bring it back towards the penalty area, goes to ground, no foul. Blackburn have got control of the situation and they bring it away. But that's good from Dow, who's chased back and has won the ball for Norwich City. And then it falls to Gibbs, and Gibbs wins a throw-in off Travis, the Blackburn captain. 30 seconds to go plus stoppage time. Here's Grant Hanley, whose mistake is looking more and more costly by the second, because it was his poor back pass that led to Blackburn taking the lead in this game. Gibbs has McCallum outside him on the left. McCallum takes on Markande. They both go to ground. The ball rolls towards the corner flag and goes behind, and we're going to get another corner.
How many is that,
City.
Chris? Have you kept count?
I'm up to 17.
Wow.
I mean, I may have missed one or two, but I'm up to 17 now. And this one's with the 90 minutes up. Corner.
5 minutes.
Oh yes, well spotted. 5 minutes of stoppage time. Corner played in from the left-hand side by Norwich City. Omobamidele gets his head to it and heads it wide. No, it didn't look particularly convincing, that, did it? Like he believed he was going to score. 5 minutes of stoppage time. I'll say again, the best Norwich are going to get probably now is a replay, but
Yeah.
that's what they could still get. Otherwise, it's going to be a losing start for David Wagner. It'll be 1 win in 10 in all for Norwich City at Carrow Road. It's such poor form at home.
Yeah.
That's something he has got to correct in the second part of the season. And if Norwich aren't going to get points at home, you worry that 11th might not be the limit of their slide this season.
It's all so close. I mean, I remember we played Coventry when they were bottom of the league, and they now sit above us, and that only seems a few months ago, and it's just crazy how quickly you can move up and down in that league.
Omobamidele plays it forward. Ball out of play, throw it to Blackburn Rovers. A minute of stoppage time played. There are 5 to go in all. Our first chance to chat to David Wagner on BBC Radio Norfolk will come up during Canary Call. Just been told the attendance, I think 472. They put it on the big screen now. Not bad attendance for FA Cup third round weekend. They'd love a goal though, the majority of them. Just haven't seen it. Norwich have put the pressure on in this second half but not scored. Dowell to Pukki. Pukki with a inventive little ball out to the left-hand side where McCallum is going to try and take on Markande, and he's too strong for the former Spurs winger. Gives it to Dowell. Dowell's ball into the penalty area. Isn't a bad one, but Hyam clears it. Or you could see Hugill almost licking his lips as he tries to get on the end of that one. Dowell will try again from deep. He'll go direct towards the penalty area. He's picked out Hugill, who heads it down towards the edge of the penalty area now to Danel Sinani. Sinani makes room from the edge of the area. His shot deflection. It's gone wide. It's another corner.
Be interesting to see where that would have ended up had it not been deflected, because I think that was bending in far post. So again, well worked by Norwich, but credit to Blackburn. I mean, they are literally, protecting their 1-0 goal with everything they've got.
Well, Jake Garrett has gone down with apparent cramp here on the edge of the penalty area, which is the sort of thing you tend to see in the final at Wembley, isn't it? Never mind third round day. He's down, defending really well for his team. It's a Norwich corner. Deep into stoppage time in front of the Barclay. Can they get the goal? Sinani delivers into the box. It's headed away, and there was a push in there by a Norwich player. And it is looking increasingly like David Wagner.
No, I think it's gone out.
Oh, it's curled out of play, is it? Yeah, that's disappointing. Well, referee spotted something in there anyway. And, well, David Wagner, it looks increasingly like he's going to start life off in the Carrow Road dugout with defeat.
Yeah,
I mean, you always want to get off to a good start, don't you?
You do. We're out of the FA Cup, which is a shame, but our focus is the league. Our objective, whether it be via playoffs or however, is promotion. He'd have seen a lot within this 90 minutes. He's now got the job of going back to the training ground and starting to work on all of that. And only really can we see what he's starting to do in the next game. What kind of a response has he got from the players in light of what's happened today?
The ball had just bounced out of play, and the steward was going to get it, and he thought, I'll leave it for this young lad to pick up. And the young lad picked it up and took it back to his seat. Norwich fan. But no, this poor Andrew Omobamidele is waiting there for the ball to come back. Oh no. Anyway, just got over a minute of stoppage time to go. Norwich on their way out of the cup as it stands, unless there is a bit of a late one at Carrow Road here. Can Omobamidele inspire something? Aarons inside to Gibbs. Gibbs finds McLean. McLean picks out Dowell with a bit of room. Everyone back for Blackburn. Dowell has found McCallum on the left-hand side. McCallum's crossed into the penalty area. Comes up a defender. Hugill made the run towards it, and when the ball drops down, it's behind the goal. And Norwich have got to 19 corners now.
Yeah. Lovely ball in, and
look, surely Tim Crawley's being told to go up by David Wagner.
Go on,
here.
do it.
Go on, Tim.
Do it.
Go on, Tim.
Go. He doesn't need to ask for permission.
He's going.
Come
Tim
on.
Crawley's going up. Much to the joy of the Norwich City supporters.
He's going to score. He's going to score.
Gone up. That would be some way to start for David Wagner, wouldn't it? There's the corner played into the penalty area, headed goalwards. Oh, and it's come back off a defender, and behind it's another corner. Norwich have made it to 20 in terms of corners in this game. Tim Krul is in the 6-yard box. Well, we wanted a bit more fun and a bit more drama at Carrow Road.
Yeah, you score here and you hear the place erupt, it'll feel like a win.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's 10 seconds to go of the stoppage time. Norwich have a corner. They're 1-0 down in the FA Cup, and Tim Krul, the goalkeeper, has gone forward. And it's one thing I can't ever remember happening as a Norwich goalkeeper scoring at Carrow Road. This would be quite some way for David Wagner to start. He's in the penalty area, Krul, putting himself about, waiting for the corner to come in from Sinani. There's the corner, played under the crossbar. Header! Oh! That's wide! It wasn't Krul. It could have been anybody.
That's the whistle.
And it's the final whistle. I think it was Grant Hanley. And so it's defeat for David Wagner in his first game as Norwich City head coach. They pushed and they pushed in the second half. They won 20 corners in that game.
Yeah.
Such was the pressure they were doing their best to put on, but they couldn't make any of them tell. And in the end, a really spirited rearguard action from Blackburn Rovers has taken them through to the 4th round, and Norwich have fallen at the first hurdle. It was a mistake inside the first half from Grant Hanley that proved decisive, a poor back pass that Krul did his best to deal with, and when the ball ran free it was played across by Bradley Dack for Jack Vale to score the only goal of the game. But for David Wagner, this was never about just today's game. It was all about having a proper look at what he's got, a proper assessment of the challenge ahead. Whatever will he make of it after that, Adrian Coote?
Yeah, I mean, lots for him to take in there, lots for him to see. You know, some good, some indifferent, some, you know, things that definitely need to be worked on. You know, got Sargent to come back in. I just, you know, it's a building process, isn't it? You know, I'm glad it was an FA Cup game. We got a chance to kind of have a look at how things were being set up in a game that didn't impact our league status, but you know, that's gone now, out of the FA Cup, and so focus on the league, and our next game is a league game. So, you know, it needs to be better in terms of cutting out the defensive mistakes, and it needs to be better up until the latter part of the second half in terms of creating chances. You know,
he's on the pitch, David Wagner, that black baseball cap on, shaking hands with his players, applauding all the corners of the ground. He's now applauding towards this direction in the south stand, showing his appreciation. And I think
getting some back as well.
Yeah,
by the looks
he's
of it.
being applauded back. We've seen Norwich City get a worse reaction than this to games that they've lost this season. There'll be huge disappointment. I mean, in some ways the woes continue. 1 win in 10 now at home. That's the run Norwich are on. It's really not good enough. And the fans who pay so much to come here deserve better than that. They do. They expect better than that. But David Wagner is being warmly received by the Norwich City supporters who are still in the ground. He hasn't seen his team win. They've been beaten in his first game in charge. But I wonder what he will have learned about the set of players he's got and the task that he's taken on. No FA Cup run for Norwich City this season. They've been beaten on 3rd round day here at Carrow Road. Defeat for Wagner at the first time of asking. It's finished. Norwich City 0, Blackburn Rovers 1.
Yeah, and people are going to read into it and talk about Dean Smith and Daniel Farker, etc. But David Wagner has made an effort to sort of clap the fans, and I doubt that's because someone's told him to. That's probably just more his style, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah,
do you think?
I think it's his first game as well, isn't it? So it's his first chance he's had to go out, and he's still out there, still applauding the supporters who are inside the ground. So it's 2 thumbs up now from him towards the Barclay end, who are, in fairness, applauding him back. And I think, yes, I know Norwich have gone out of the cup today, and ultimately, yeah, results business, and it's disappointing. But I think in that second half, we saw a lot more from Norwich in terms of intensity, in terms of really giving a game a good go than we have done recently. Now, they won 20 corners in that game. I mean, and you can look at whether they should have done more to make any of them tell. Of course you can. But I just felt, particularly after the substitutions, actually, when Dowell and Sinani came on, and Hugill as well, you saw a team that actually believed that it was going to score. It didn't in the end. They were wrong, but you felt like you weren't watching a team that was sort of going forward in hope rather than expectation. They didn't get it in the end, and that's clearly something to work on. But I don't know about you, Rob. I just thought when you compare that to the last 2 home games we've seen, probably the last 3 home games and the tail end of the Dean Smith run, you did sense that something might have happened in the latter stages of that game, which is not a feeling I've sort of had at Carrow Road in recent games. Well,
Cootie, we've got the stats. We'll take your Canary calls very soon. But you know, Chris mentioned the 20 corners. Well, 26 shots as well to Blackburn's 9. 10 shots on target to Blackburn 6. So All right, the most important stat, as we always say, 1-0 to Blackburn. And we can't, because we used to kind of say to Dean Smith, well, hang on a minute, you talk about stats, you've lost the game. But actually, Chris is right. I wouldn't say it was a brilliant performance. I wouldn't even say it was a particularly good performance. However, there's green shoots there. And we have to be honest, you know, David Wagner officially has only been manager for 2 days. So it's going to take a bit of time to get him sorted. And he's got 6 days now to Preston.
Yeah, absolutely that. And, you know, reading those stats, or hearing you read those stats, really, really interesting. You know, it felt like Norwich had quite a few half chances and nothing really clear cut, some saves from the goalkeeper. I wonder when the last game at home or away, Norwich created 26 shots on goal. You know, even 10 shots on target seems a lot, because I remember, you know, looking at stats for Norwich games where we, you know, maybe created 1 shot on target and stuff like that. So, you know, we've lost the game, but those stats show that there's definitely something there to build on. You know, and again, just based on what I've seen here and some of the games I've seen in the past, I'm positive about what this change will mean for Adam Eder, because I felt like at points in the game today that, you know, he could have an impact, and he looked like a player that was wanting to play for his place and just had something about him, and it didn't quite come off for him today. But I just wonder what kind of impact that has on Adam Eder in terms of building him into the player that we know he can be.
Absolutely. We'll get your calls in now. Cootie will be with me for your Canary call. 0800 3897 321 is the number.